Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tim to the MMALatestNews.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
Yes, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to MMA Latest. This is UFC 242. And it started off with a little bit of a banger. Can we say massive props to Lerone Murphy taking a fight on 3 weeks' notice against a Dagestani and somehow pulling a draw out. I don't know how I thought the judges was going to go the complete opposite way. Joined by James, first time on the live stream for us today. You might have seen him doing some of the news on MMA Latest. And Joe, not his first time over on here. Mate, lads, it looks like it's absolutely roasting out there, and I think that's caused some issue with some of the fights. Is it going to play any impact in the main event? What do you reckon?
Yeah, probably, because if Khabib's all sweaty, can Dustin wriggle out of some of those Dagestani takedowns? Hopefully. That's what I want to see.
Who was it before, after his fight in his interview, saying he could hardly breathe while he was fighting? Like, what are they? It's like they're fighting in custard, isn't it?
I think they pulled it up before. Feels like 125 degrees.
I mean,
that's hot.
It's got to be.
That's proper hot. That.
Whether it makes a difference to the outcome overall, as in we see a different winner, it has to make a difference fighting in that heat compared to not fighting in that heat. We'll just have to see what that difference is.
Yeah, and for someone like Khabib, who lives and trains in Dagestan, not the warmest place in the world, is having a sweaty opponent that's greased up, lubed up with sweat going to be a nightmare for him? Is it going to be an issue? We got Curtis Blaydes fighting up in a second, and we've seen the heavyweights fight before when it's been high altitude or when it's been in one of these. I think the last time it was in Abu Dhabi, was it at Yas Island? I think it might have been. There was a lot of the fights there that were affected, shall we say, by how sweaty everyone was, and I know that there was people that were saying like just couldn't grab anybody. No. Curtis Blaydes is warming up in a hoodie. That's crazy. Mind you, there's a massive 6 foot air conditioner behind him.
Literally
there,
big, about as big as him. 8 feet tall, 6 feet wide.
He looks a little bit energetic, I'm going to say, for considering how hot it is.
I always think,
kind of crazy.
you know, when they're warming up and stuff, obviously they know this, but sometimes they look like they're really going for it with these warm-ups, and then after 3 minutes of the fight, they're gassed, and you think, could you have saved a bit of that? I know you have to warm up, but they're warming up for 40 minutes before the fight, aren't they?
A lot of people's idea is to get your second wind for the fight. So they absolutely cane them in the back. They really put them through it. I'm not really a fan of that. I'd rather go in a little bit colder, me.
Yeah, I remember when Darren Till got beat by Woodley, he was complaining that he hadn't worked out enough beforehand. So I think a lot of them do struggle with that.
Yeah. I mean, I always wonder, like when we were doing that 5-a-side the other week, and we were getting the ball, warming up, and I was like, I'm knackered before the first game started, and obviously they're a little bit fitter.
You hadn't got your second wind. That's what it was.
Yeah,
you had to work harder.
Yeah,
you had to work even harder and push through.
Yeah, I don't think I never got a second wind.
I'm pretty sure that's not a real thing. I think you've got a gas tank, and your ability to recover, and once you start depleting that, you're fucked.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the preview in Adesanya Whittaker now. Who do you two fancy in that one?
Oh, mate, I don't know. I do not know.
I can see both. I can see how either fighter could win comfortably, and I can see how it could be really close, but I can't decide in my head what's going to happen.
We will be live for that, so make sure to come and join us on MMA Latest. If you're new around here as well, please hit that subscribe button. We've got a regular podcast every week with MMA fighter, pro MMA fighter Brendan Loughnane, and it's going brilliantly, isn't it? I mean, have you tuned into any of them?
I'm always watching. I'm always in the grey room.
Yeah,
my God,
I watched the most recent one. That was fantastic.
I mean, if you're into your conspiracy theories, watch the last one, because Dean goes in deep.
Yeah, it's just the British Eddie Bravo, wasn't it?
Yeah, we have got our very own Eddie Bravo. We'll be getting Dean in a lot more regular.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brendan's fighting in, I think it's the 11th of October. His teammate Kane then fighting on the 12th of October, same weekend. Good for them both to be in camp so much like this. The confidence they'll be bringing back with Lerone there pulling out that draw tonight, which I think is a bit of an upset. Actually, it's ruined my acca.
I think it was a good. I'm glad to see it was a draw though, because we were saying throughout the whole fight he was controlled a lot. That he was up against the cage, pressed against the cage.
Zero damage though.
But no damage was done. And you looked at which fighter looked like they'd taken a beating at the end of the fight, and it was
Tukhugov. Yeah, but Tukhugov was very controlling, but he literally was almost like a child hugging onto the dad as he was leaving. Like, no, it wasn't actually throwing. It wasn't throwing. He didn't even attempt to throw anything once he was on top.
Yeah, it was
very interesting to see the stats on that, actually.
Yeah. Well, that first round obviously got the almost knocked him out, didn't he? Lerone almost got knocked out, but after that, like I said, there was so many times when they were just sort of almost both of them were just sort of static on the floor. No punches being thrown, no nothing, and the strikes that were thrown and landed were by Lerone.
Where does Khabib stand in terms of the UFC superstar hierarchy at the moment? Because I'm not really feeling the same sort of trajectory that you used to see from fighters, the same trajectory that Conor himself walked along. The reason why I think Conor McGregor became the worldwide superstar phenomenon, and how off the rails he's gone, you can talk about but the reason you knew who Conor McGregor was, and the reason you got behind Conor McGregor, if you did, and some pure didn't, but was because he fought with the regularity.
Yeah.
And they promoted him. Mm-hmm. They promoted him when he was fighting on an undercard, not main eventing. They promoted him once he got to main events. They promoted him hard once he started headlining pay-per-views. And then once he became the champion, they did not stop promoting him. No. And they spent £1 million on a music video style promotion for him and Aldo, which resulted in one of the highest pay-per-views that the UFC's seen. Now, is that on the back of it just being Conor McGregor, or was it also on the back of how much promotional dollars that they actually threw into it? The promotional dollars that they put in, the time and effort they put in, putting him onto talk shows and stuff like that. The same they did with Ronda. They didn't really do it with Brock, because I can't imagine he's this kind of talk show kind of cat. But you see, certain people, even Paige Van Zandt, they put her out there a little bit.
Yeah.
They allowed her to go and do, is it Dancing with the Stars?
Dancing
I
with
think
the Stars,
they let her go and do. Why aren't you seeing this with any other fighters? They go, oh, we've got no superstars left. You're like, yeah, but you're not making superstars anymore. You're trying to do these bullshit money fights. You're trying to do champ, left, right, and fucking centre, and interim championships. Build people up in the way that you did it. Do what got you to the dance.
I honestly think, obviously, Conor could speak and do the trash talking like no one ever, but Ronda didn't. She was just a bit nasty, wasn't she? She wasn't great on the mic. She was what I honestly think it comes down to never missing a fight. McGregor never pulls out. Ronda never pulled it. They fought all the time.
Yeah, regular fight.
You look at all the champions now. DC, year out. Stipe, year out. Whittaker, never fit. Khabib, Russian as fuck. And he's injured. Khabib can't go on Conan O'Brien.
No.
But you go through, I guess, Henry Cejudo, but those smaller weights they always struggle, don't they?
But again, did DJ, Mighty Mouse, did he not promote well, or did they not promote him? Yeah. Because this is a guy who makes a fucking living playing Xbox. Yeah. Don't tell me he doesn't have a following. Of course he has a following. Yeah. Promote him properly.
Yeah, I think with Demetrius Johnson, he let himself down hugely because he had opportunities to make big fights. He sort of ran away from them to a certain extent because he never wanted to fight TJ, and I think that let himself down.
But why should he have to move up the division?
Because there's nobody for him to fight at Flower at the same time.
Henry proved it.
Yeah, second time round he did. The first time round, though, he didn't look much match for him at all, did he?
No.
When DJ first beat Cejudo, you didn't think, oh, he's beat a real top fighter there. You just thought, oh, he's an Olympic guy, not really transitioned to the UFC. It was only after that Cejudo came back round.
Nobody's saying Khabib needs to move up.
No.
Yeah. Are they?
Because I suppose there's people at 155 for Khabib to fight. We still want to see the Tony Ferguson fight. There's still other people out there for him.
Yeah.
Whereas with DJ, I just don't think there was that depth there. And I know that Cejudo beat him, but at the time, Cejudo was, a 10-1 underdog, something ridiculous like that. And he chose not to challenge himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that the UFC's not doing anywhere near enough in terms of promoting the fighters that they've got, mate. I think that this entertainment era is a black mark on the sport. I think that by them going down the route of call-outs, they've even said they're going to give a bad motherfucker belt out for the Masvidal Diaz thing. Yeah. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
This is a great fight.
It's fun, but
it's a great fight for the rankings. It's a great fight for the fans. It's a great fight. Why are you making a belt? You're fucking cheapening your own product. You don't need to give interim titles out with the regularity that you do. And you don't need to just go down this, everyone's got to call people out. Yeah. Make your champions fight with a bit more regularity, which I understand is probably where you go, well, that's why we ended up with interim titles. Okay, cool. But you don't need to give one out every 4.5 fucking minutes. No. When someone's like, oh, I'm not going to fight today. Like, oh,
interim. But I think, again, going back to the thing of regularity, if you look back at the era where just before they sold to WMG, is it? WME, yeah. Just before they sold, all their champions fought a lot. Like Conor fight 3 times a year, Ronda fight 4 times a year if she's just armbarring the shit out of people. But now, none of the champions fight very much.
We got Shamil walking out to fight Curtis Blaydes. He's coming out first. Just wanted to get out there before. Karen.
But they can't rely on people to, these cards. When you look at the pay-per-views every month, most of them are just like one fight and just a mixed bag after that. Like,
well, today's is a little bit of a mixed bag. They've stacked
I think it's not bad.
They've stacked it for the region. There's been some good fights on here. I'm sure they're going to be competitive and exciting. But in terms of the names, I remember when a pay-per-view card, the numbered pay-per-view cards, were 2 title fights.
Yeah, and that seemed to happen sort of 3 out of 5 times. We had 2, like what was it, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah,
it was all the time.
Was it 205 or 200?
205, where they had 3, didn't they?
Yeah, and like 187 was that 2? With an interim, there was a. It was McGregor and Mendes, wasn't it? As the headliner. I can't
remember off the top of my head, but it used to be a regular thing that you'd get at least 2, and then probably the 2 other fights on the main card would be fucking sick.
Yeah, it'd be like Jacare against fucking...
Usman should be an absolute megastar. That motherfucker shouldn't be able to walk anywhere. Adesanya and Bobby Knuckles shouldn't be able to take a piss in public, right? John Jones probably is one of the ones that's kind of on the cusp of being a superstar, but they never make him do talk shows.
No, well... Is it worth the risk?
Absolutely.
Or if he throws some woman in the front crowd through the table?
Well, don't they like that shit? They use Conor McGregor throwing the thing through the dolly on their own promo, so they clearly do like that shit.
Yeah, and somebody I think needs a lot more, and I know he's not like a trash talker, but I think the fact that Stipe's not one of the biggest stars in sports is ridiculous.
The
man's a fireman.
Yeah. An actual hero. Joey was back at work. I think he had a week off, and then he was back in work.
Joe... He's like the perfect all-American sort of guy. I think anybody would relate to it.
But they almost pushed, to start with, they pushed him as a Croatian, though, didn't they, for ages, rather than being an American?
Yeah.
It was like...
Firefighter, hero, world champion, heavyweight.
Perfect.
Come on, it's everything you want. Lives in Middle America as well, like proper, like...
He's perfect.
Yeah.
But he's not getting the push. He's not on like talk shows. And if he is, he's not going to like massively entertain him, but people are going to like him. People are going to want to see him win.
But
even if he'd suit the talk show one. I don't think he suits the podcast one. He wasn't great on some of the podcasts I've listened to.
No.
He's a little bit slow and he's a little bit one-answered sometimes.
Yeah.
Actually, did you listen to Ruiz on...
Terrible. With all due respect to Ruiz, obviously, but awful.
No, I didn't.
Joe Rogan was asking him these really long-winded, interesting, depth questions. Talk to me about that slip and move, your preparation for this fight. He's like, yeah, it was good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're like,
I remember, I saw the other day Ruiz and Joshua doing the gloves are off, and they've just had that press done. They've got to be 2 of the most boring heavyweights around. That's why I think most people are like leaning towards Tyson Fury now, because Joshua's got to be one of the most boring.
He's got flavour.
He's got a story. He's got that redemption story as well.
Same
as John Jones. The reason people like him, he's an absolute mess. But he keeps bringing it back around. Oh, he's clean again. Oh, he's done drugs. Oh, he's clean again. Oh, he's hit a woman with his car.
He's assaulted a stripper.
Oh, he's assaulted someone. Oh, he's run away from the police. It's like
he hit
all
under
these
a cage
things.
for a piss test.
Yeah, but every time you see him, and the story that leads to him coming back to the octagon each time is a story of redemption, so people can get behind that.
Yeah. How many times do you think he can get away with a story of redemption before he gets like a
as
prison
many,
sentence?
26 more. And even if he goes to prison, it'll be mint.
Yeah, obviously, if he goes to prison, that's a separate thing. But in terms of people forgiving him, people love forgiving people.
Wait, Tyson went to prison for rape.
Yeah, and he's one of the most loved fighters in the world. It's mental. Even now that, like, Derek Chisora has obviously had some sort of... People know his past and the things he was getting in trouble with for the law and stuff, but yet he still gets, like, chance at the O2 and stuff. People love it. It's weird. People do forgive people.
Yeah, people love forgiving people. Like, that's the thing.
Conor will get forgiven.
If you're a recovered heroin addict, you get a round of applause. If you never took heroin...
Boring.
So
All right, Ricky Gervais.
No, well, Ricky Gervais who says it, but it's the case with John Jones. It's the case with all these people.
Like said, I think
doing something bad and recovering is better than not doing anything at all.
He walks out and goes, "I don't take drugs."
Yeah,
no one will be like,
yeah, exactly. No one cares. See, I think as long as he don't go to prison so that he can't fight for years, I think people just keep forgiving him. What do you think to this one?
Curtis Blaydes. Probably a Curtis Blaydes decision in a relatively boring fight. Do you want to Curtis Blaydes? Do you like Curtis Blaydes?
I like, as a man, I think I don't mind him. He's really young for a heavyweight as well, isn't he? I think
28.
He needs to. He needs some way of differentiating himself, I think. He's a bit he's just a bit boring, isn't he?
Yeah, because if you are the UFC, why would you give this person a title shot when he's not going to sell it in the build-up and he's just going to lie on you for 3 rounds?
I know. Yeah, imagine him against. Well, we saw it, didn't we, against Ngannou? Was it?
He was Ngannou knocked him out, and then a couple of fights before, Mark Hunt nearly did it.
Yeah,
Very close. In fact, what's going on with Mark Hunt at the moment? Because I saw a picture of him that he's absolutely massive. He's well and truly the Super Samoan
He's
now.
well over $3 billion, isn't he?
Because he came back before trying to say that he'd lost 60 pounds and all that, and he looked a bit slimmer, didn't he? He had a bit of definition on the old chest. Yeah. And then now he's just back to being a beanbag.
I'm just dreading the day when it's announced that he's doing like the trilogy with Bigfoot Silver and BKB.
Oh, it'd be on Bellator.
I don't know.
You make you laugh, it will be. It'd definitely be what Bellator are like.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll do anything. They'll just do anything, won't they?
I think I'm about 50,000 Twitter followers from getting a call off Bellator.
Yeah. A woman who works in Greg's against a woman who works in Coupland's.
In fact, James Haskell on Bellator. What do you make of that? Do you think he'll have any success whatsoever?
Well, he's athletic. And apparently he's been training for a long time before this. He transitioned. I think he's done wrestling for a long time in his career. Blaydes and... I'm not even going to attempt.
Blaydes is shot already.
Abdurakhimov.
We're thinking that this is one of the fights that may be affected by the heat and everything like that. But Blaydes going for a takedown early doors while it's still dry is interesting. Potentially lucrative for him.
I know that you're not allowed to just lube up completely, but if you were fighting against Khabib, you see him pouring the water over the head and all that, and they dab you down with the towel a bit, but you'd be trying to get as slippy as possible, wouldn't you?
Who the fuck?
GSP got done for the grease.
Yeah,
smothered himself in grease, didn't he?
Who the fuck was it?
I'd be drinking vegetable oil between rounds, pretending it was water. So when I poured it over my head,
I think someone has done a talk. I want to say Chael because it's a Chael move, but I don't think it was Chael. And someone spoke about how to get greased up, but be dry to the touch when you walk in. And I think they say you fucking grease yourself up, take a shower, and you're dry to the touch, but it's in your pores a little bit. So as soon as you start sweating, all that Vaseline starts coming out again,
like
and
Chael,
you're fucking like trying to grab a bar of soap.
Yeah, I mean, you'd do everything you could, wouldn't you?
Of course you would. Yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Sonnen is one of the great cheats of all time.
I fucking love him because he's so honest about it.
You see that? I think there was an article written out as soon as he retired, something like Chael Sonnen is the worst drug cheat of all time, and he captured it with the greatest drug cheat of all time.
Some of the comments we've had, thoughts on Lerone Murphy from one of the lads there. I thought, look, this level of Dagestani wrestling is probably hard for mortals to comprehend, I imagine. Tukagov's legit. Tukagov, I think, is the guy that jumped into the cage and hit Conor McGregor after the Khabib fight, if I'm right. I think that's who he is. I think that's who that guy is. He is a fucking... he's a full-blown daggy, so... That tells you everything you need to know about the calibre of the wrestling.
When they were showing him warming up in the changing room, his name and then his little description was like hand-to-hand combat, combat sambo. He's like the longest intro ever for his name. They can wrestle, can't they?
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
Wrestle. So I think Lerone was well aware of what was coming. Yeah. But there's one thing being aware of what's happening and then dealing with it anyway. Lerone isn't someone that had the greatest wrestling. Lerone is a absolute pure thoroughbred striker. Which he showcased, and I think Tukagov was scared of him. To be fair, refused to engage, and when he did get him down, he wasn't attempting anything because Lerone actually attempted a couple of submissions, which rattled him as well. I think on reflection, a draw's probably a fair result. I just didn't expect it because the judges normally go for whoever got the takedowns or you won. Clearly, that's interesting to see if the judges are actually, proper, and it's not just old fucking Vegas boxing judges that are doing it.
Yeah. It's weird though because obviously this Dagestani wrestling is so good. So why do you think Khabib's the only person who's managed to make it to like a world title level with that style of wrestling?
Don't know. I think I was having a weigh up about this. Like, do you know what Khabib's takedown percentage is?
Must be like 80, 90.
I'm gonna guess like 18. I'm gonna go the other way with it.
Fair enough. Well, you're both wrong. It's 50.
See? In the middle.
Yeah. And when you break that down, a lot of that is because he just does not stop trying it. He just tries it and tries it and tries it till he gets it. I think that a main difference that you get with Khabib is that he's going to eventually land it. And once he does, he's going to bully beat down you. But I don't think he's a perfect fighter. I don't think there's no holes in his game. And I actually think he's got a couple of things that Poirier might be able to exploit. What's interesting is we are now, we've got a minute left-ish of the first round here. They're not very sweaty, which is very interesting. These have been grappling for the vast majority of this round. That I find fascinating because if the heavyweights haven't sweated too much, maybe the aircon's kicked in.
Maybe they found a way to cool it down a bit,
Yeah, maybe the aircon has kicked in a little bit.
The thing with Khabib, though, I don't know the levels and the rankings of how that sambo and that style of wrestling that they do over there, because it's not they don't do it in the Olympics, do they? It's not like I don't know what the metric for judging how good each person is. Well, but is Khabib just the best at it, or is they're all like masters and champions and it's all weird words. I don't know what they mean.
Well, if you look at the Dagestani record, I think someone's done an article on the website, haven't they, about this? The record of Dagestanis is like 80%, 85% win rate.
Yeah.
So maybe Khabib was just the first of a long line of killers that are coming through.
Khabib, is this over?
Oh yeah.
Did he win? Saved by the bell.
He has. I think it's the bell.
Oh, I thought that was over. He was on the cusp there though,
Yeah.
Blaydes.
Yeah.
He landed some nasty ground and pound there.
Yeah, so I'm not necessarily sure that Khabib is definitely the best. He might.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be. Like I said, I don't have the depth of knowledge of Dagestani wrestlers to be able to give you that answer. But maybe he's just the first that's stepped out of fighting in local tournaments and fighting on, because I'm sure KSW's flooded with them. I'm sure M1's flooded with them.
Especially now, like since Khabib, everyone will be going to every tiny town in Dagestan trying to get the little 8-year-old champion.
Fight?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you. Okay, see you later.
So I think that there's a very, very real chance that there's way more of these coming. And maybe it's just a case of that particular style of Dagestani wrestling is currently perfect for what MMA is doing at the moment. Because we've seen it go through many different things recently. You saw that sideways karate stance was very popular for a little bit. You saw the likes of Machida, Wonderboy, Conor. That was the flavour of the month for a little bit. Wrestlers have always kind of been flavour of the month. There was a time when every champion, and it's probably not far off now, actually.
Yeah, it's just two that aren't, I think.
Yeah, is a wrestling-based guy. So wrestling has always been good, whether that was your Mark Coleman's from back in the day, grapplers like Hoyce. Wrestling and grappling has always been big. It's actually more rare for someone who's a pure striker to have been champ. And that evolved with the advent of the likes of GSP into much more well-rounded, really good fighters. Blaydes is putting on a bit of a clinic.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's doing well tonight, Blaydes.
Maybe for the moment, the Dagestani relentless pressure style of wrestling, because it's not that. Because it isn't a double leg. He's not got an athletic power double.
No,
it's kind of just walks you down slowly. It's almost like he doesn't care what you're about to do. He's going to walk at you, push you back, and then grab you and pull you down.
And maybe we should. People always talk about Khabib striking and that's his weakness, and his striking's not very good. His hands are sloppy. Maybe we should give him a bit more credit for his defensive striking, in the sense that he's only ever been wobbled sort of half a time, maybe.
Put Conor on his ass.
Yeah, he put Conor on his arse. He doesn't get hurt. And maybe his defensive striking is a lot better than people give him credit for. Maybe there's something in that.
I think that people's striking as well goes up through the gears because of people are so worried about what he's going to do when he grapples that they forget. And I think he almost lulls you into a false sense of security. Therefore, his striking looks better than it is, because I think if you just got into a boxing ring with him, he'd probably look quite ordinary.
Yeah, but in terms of your MMA striking, I think...
Exactly, yeah, because he's a multiple threat, that you are worried about the thing that he's very likely to do, which is take you down and fucking bully beat down you on the floor. You kind of like more concentrating on looking at his feet, looking at that rather than looking at his hands, because you almost think, probably arrogantly in some cases, I'm a fucking better striker than Khabib.
Yeah, it's the reason why GSP got Bisping, really. Bisping would have never got beaten in a boxing match by GSP. But with everything you've just said, do you think Khabib is better than Ben Askren from just a wrestling perspective?
I haven't seen enough of pure Ben Askren.
Are we going to see Poirier knee Khabib's face?
I'd love to
about
see
20
it.
minutes.
I'd love to
about
see
an hour.
If I had to start, just a flying knee on him.
Oh, imagine.
I don't actually know who I think has got the best pure MMA wrestling. I mean, it could be someone completely random that you're not even really thinking of.
Well, it was.
Because there's some very decorated wrestlers that don't actually really wrestle. Like look at Dan Henderson. You didn't really see him.
Look at Tyron
wrestle.
Woodley.
Yeah.
He hardly ever wrestled. Just back to the cage, just big right hand.
DC doesn't really wrestle that much for a guy.
But again, maybe he seems DC gets people down. He always does the big over the but he does, other than Johnson, he obviously kept down, but he doesn't keep people down that much. Jones got back up, Stipe got back up. He's really good at taking people down, but not that great at keeping them down. Whereas Khabib, people can't stand up. Maybe it's something to do with that single leg grip of like. He doesn't have to have much, and you just can't move. And like you were saying before, keeping those feet off the ground, so there's nowhere to plant your base.
Because I've never really seen that apart from Khabib. People have copycatted that, but I never really saw that until Khabib. Tukhugov did it a couple of times to Murphy, where you just lift the feet, and the other fighter's forced to put their hands on the mat to deal with the fact that they've got no base. You need that contact with the ground, and if you can't get your feet to the floor, if I lift your feet up and say stand up, you can't get
literally
up.
There's nothing
and
you
then
can do.
What Khabib does is he'll sort of like mount your legs.
Yeah,
he ties your feet up.
Like wraps his legs underneath your feet,
and then you can't generate any force off them because he's kept them bent. Like there's a couple of things, real fundamental things that you kind of learn fairly early doors in grappling that are so effective, and those are just lifting bases away and realigning the spine to a way that you want. So if I'm rolling with James at the moment, and he keeps trying to bridge to try and throw me off, if I just push his head to one of his shoulders, I've just taken away so much of his power. Like when he's in this position, he's just not strong because you forget how much you use your head to lift you up. It's the same with the feet. If you can just throw one side off for someone, Blaydes has won.
Yeah, Curtis Blaydes.
So
decision.
Yeah,
he's won, but I don't think he'll be anywhere near a title shot, really.
No.
Talking that though, there isn't really anyone to challenge Stipe, because if DC finishes and they don't want to do the Stipe Francis rematch, unless you get Jones to move up, maybe he would get a chance.
Maybe he would, yeah. But I think, do you think Ngannou's ready for that rematch?
No.
Do you think Stipe's ready for that rematch, getting his head punched off? I think he needs a long time off again.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the argument for giving it because of how it went last time. But no, I think you've got to go on a bit more of a journey. I think Ngannou needs a bit more of a journey. He's done all right. There's just showing that Curtis Blaydes 7th, only behind Lewis and Ngannou in terms of wins since 2016.
Yeah.
Shows how active them lot have been.
Yeah, although hasn't Overeem had 2 title shots in that time? Like he just wins the right fights and gets another title shot.
And then gets knocked out in horrifying fashion.
But it's though, and it's sometimes a big name. Like if Brock Lesnar came back this week, he'd be in a title shot next week.
Yeah,
yeah, guaranteed.
If one fight is a good title shot, maybe even
a title shot. Yeah, I think Brock's probably got the size of a finger. I think Brock's a shame, man, because if he'd hadn't bothered with the
WWE,
that bullshit. If he'd have actually just gone into been a competitive athlete, what the hell could he have been?
He'd have been incredible.
But I bet for his own brain, which all that stuff, put it all together, I'm sure the trajectory he's taken, he's made more money than he would have in the UFC.
Yeah,
he's taken less damage than he would. As far as the life goes, he's done the right thing. But for us, I want to see him against Fedor.
Not in the elimination chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
But for Brock, I always felt like he wasn't really a fighter. He was more of an athlete, because when he got in trouble, he didn't seem to enjoy it. He didn't like getting hit.
Although
I raise you to Shane Carwin.
I was just going to say that Shane Carwin fight. Most people would have had their skull caved in.
This is
from
another
those
one as well, right?
If
If you put up that Shane Carwin fight and you put up Conor against Chad Mendes, look how many unanswered shots Chad Mendes gets hit with, and then how many Brock gets hit with, and ask me why that was stopped and that one wasn't stopped. It's weird. The stoppage is an interesting one, because no one would have called out I can't remember who the referee was on the night. No one would have called the ref out on the night if they'd have stopped in
the
that
Lesnar
first
one.
round.
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
For anyone who didn't watch it, was that UFC 100? It wasn't, was it? It was after that.
I don't know what it was.
It was a lot, 10 years ago, and Shane Carwin obviously Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar beat Frank Mir.
He won 100,
so
yeah.
before
And
that.
Shane Carwin knocked Brock Lesnar down and was just ground and just these giant,
it was brutal.
Letterbox fists
Every
going out
single one of them
for
killed
like a minute.
millions of fucking brain cells.
Yeah, like a full minute basically of just punching him in the head, and they didn't stop it.
They didn't stop it.
And then the second round.
Do you remember what happened in between though? The Shane Carwin had definitely gassed himself out,
yeah.
and quite rightly so, because like all of us thought that was the end of that. And he empties his gas tank. They go to the corner, and as they come out, Brock does this little like "got you bitch" kind of nod, and Carwin's kind of just like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he arm triangles him.
It's weird how doing that kind of getting punched in the head for a minute and punches, it takes more energy to do the punching than to be almost like killed. Lesnar's the one with the more stamina in the second round. But yeah, like I said, no one would have batted an eyelid. I think it was just because it was Lesnar that fight didn't get stopped, really.
And that's wrong.
Yeah, it is.
We've got Makachev and Davi Ramos coming up next. I haven't got a single bet that's still on, I don't think.
Have you not?
No. Oh, actually, the one. I'll tell you one of my low-key bets. Poirier by submission.
What, the jiu-jitsu back? Hopefully.
I'll go even deeper than that, and I'll say, right, I'm going to give you a couple of things that I'm going to say to look out for, and I've got a couple for the Barboza-Felder fight as well. For Khabib and Poirier, I think Khabib's takedowns are sloppy. And people will be like, you fucking what? Hear me out. I think they're sloppy compared to like that sort of all-American double leg sort of power takedown. I think Khabib's have holes in them, and I think someone of the level of jiu-jitsu that Dustin Poirier is, and knowing how he is aggressive with the guillotine attempts, not always successful. I think he uses them defensively. I think he might catch him in one. Whether or not he can sync it up and tap him, we've never seen Khabib beaten, so we've got jack shit idea whether or not he would ever tap to anything. We don't know. We don't know if he'd Dan Hardy and just be like, tapping's not an option.
Just break my neck.
Yeah, just kill me, yeah.
Yeah, I'd die then.
So I think that's one. And for that reason, I wanted to put on guillotine second round, but it wasn't an option. I just had the option for by submission. So I went with by submission, 16-1 it was. And I thought, I'll take that. If I could have narrowed it down to the round and method, I reckon I'd probably got
40-1.
Oh, maybe even higher,
Yeah.
Maybe 60.
I think, who has Khabib fought who's got good wrestling?
Quinter was a decent wrestler in high school.
Yeah, but not like...
Nothing special.
No. I think that would be the best chance of beating him personally, someone who can stop the takedowns and maybe even take him down. But personally, I think the chances of Khabib getting submitted are really low. He does seem like the sort of person to me where he just... Do you remember Woodley against Wonderboy, where he was just like, oh, he's going to break his neck. Oh, he's popped out. Like, I could see that kind of thing happening. Like, it looks like Poirier's got him in.
Wonderboy's got a pea-head.
Yeah, that's true.
Khabib's got a slab head.
Yeah, with all beards and hair, like, to help you get some grip on it. I mean, I think it's Khabib's. I think it's the fact that Poirier's a high output puncher might like worry him a bit because he's going to struggle to find the gaps to hit those takedowns because there's a lot of punches coming his way. I think he might, whereas Conor's a bit more measured and there's a lot of time between punches. I think that might help Poirier, but I think once he takes him down, he'll just grind him out.
Poirier's been taken down 3 times, I think, in his last 10, 12 fights, dozen fights. I reckon that's probably eclipsed tonight alone.
Yeah.
I think he's probably took down more tonight than he has been in his previous 10, 12 fights, without a shadow of a doubt. Even if he manages to pull a win out, I'm still sure both are true. The other fight, the other main event, really, Barboza and Felder. I'm not 100% sure this is definitely a rematch that I wanted to see. But nevertheless, it is going to be 2 lads that stand in the middle and bang. I think you can absolutely say that. And maybe that was a tactical thing from the UFC, knowing that there's so many daggies on this card.
Yeah.
That was just going to be like, listen,
who's just something.
Who's just going to rock 'em sock?
Just a chance of something that won't be a decision. Just one chance.
And I think the key to this one is range. As we've seen with Khabib and Barboza, I think if you back Barboza up, and this isn't me breaking any fucking news here, I don't think, to anyone, but I think if you back Barboza up, you nullify a lot of what he does.
Yeah.
And I think Felder's the guy to do that. I like Felder's elbows in short. I like him dirty boxing. If I'm Paul Felder, I'm just trying to walk through those first couple of kicks that are coming my way, press him up against the cage, fucking grind my head into him, elbow him in short, make this a scrap. If I'm Barboza, I'm staying on the outside. I'm going to dance around, and I'm probably going to be... Look, in straight kickboxing, Barboza's got the speed edge, and I think he's probably got the accuracy edge, and I think he's probably got that X-factor edge, where he can hit you with some spin shit that you just don't even fucking predict.
Yeah.
But I think this is a hell of a fight. Which way do you see it going?
I would edge towards Felder based purely on the fact that Barboza's lost 3 of his last 4.
We said it in our
We knew that would go.
Yeah, lost 3 of his last 4. His last one was horrifically bad. I think Felder's got a bit of momentum with him for the first time in his career. And I think the first fight was relatively close, so at this stage I probably edge towards Felder.
Yeah, I think the same. I think, like you said, the kickboxers, when you press them against the cage, you see it with Pettis, you see it with Cowboy, you see it...
They crumbled up.
Yeah, it's that defensive wrestling, again, it's a struggle. I think I'd love to see something crazy from Barboza, that young... Because he hasn't really done that in his last few fights, has he?
Barboza stopped someone with a head kick, a body kick, and leg kicks.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, exactly. And I hope we see a bit more creativity and a bit more that exciting, who knows what's going to happen from him.
Let's have a look at his recent fights, because he's had bad matches up for him. Yeah. Like, when I saw that he was matched with Khabib, I was like...
Yeah, terrible.
He looked great, though, when he fought Dan Hooker, didn't he?
I mean, look at his recent record. From Cerrone onwards, it's just been win, loss, win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss. Gaethje wasn't a great matchup. No. Hooker, Kevin Lee and Khabib, like, who's your manager, mate?
Yeah, I know. Especially
was like,
after that Khabib
no
one.
Problem.
After that Khabib one,
taking Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee, yeah.
Even in that Kevin Lee fight, though, we did have a moment of madness where he nearly got the finish as well.
That Terry Edson one.
That was shockingly
2012.
bad.
But yeah,
he's 10-0 at that stage, Barboza.
He's just not quite that elite level fighter, is he? He's
very
close.
exciting, though. I like to watch him.
Yeah, and I hope we do see something exciting from him. I would love to see a knockout.
Here we go. Makhachev and Ramos entering the cage. Here we go. 5'10". I didn't realise there was that much in the height difference.
Only small Ramos, isn't he?
No difference in reach, though. What's all that about?
Yeah.
Ramos got a right back on him, hasn't he? He just does deadlifts all day long.
He looks intimidating, Ramos.
I think he's trying to look intimidating now.
He looks a bit...
He was staring the camera out on the way to the cage, and I'm like, why are you wasting your time doing that?
Looks like something from the Brazilian underground.
He looks a bit like Dan Henderson.
He does look like Dan Henderson.
Like his younger brother or something.
Like Dan Henderson's dad went on Rio de Janeiro business trip that one time.
Yeah.
That we don't talk about no more.
Yeah, exactly.
Couple of Brazilians in the crowd. I'd fucking love to go to this, you know.
What a do from Brazil, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think the locals are supporting?
The Russians.
Mad.
The Russians, it's that Muslim thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's just closer as well, isn't it? It's just closer country-wise.
There's a lot of events get put on around the Middle East with a lot of Dagestani fighters on. And I think that's why they've got such a following around in these parts, I think, as well, on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the World Boxing Super Series, George Groves, Callum Smith, that was in Saudi. This is in Saudi. Joshua Ruiz is going to Saudi. Do you think we're going to get far more events in the Middle East now with all the money coming in?
Definitely, yeah.
Well, look at what Vegas was, a fucking desert in the middle of bastard nowhere.
Yeah.
But they pay for fights. They treat people right. They have great, fantastic looking hotels. And before you know it, Vegas is the fight capital of the world.
And then the next desert in the middle of the nowhere comes up.
We have another desert
it's just
in the middle
money.
of
It's all
nowhere,
money.
And travel's a bit easier than it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Welcome to Abu Dhabi.
How luxurious is it? How great are the hotels? How good are the fight camps? How well are you treated? How good is the food? How good are the strip clubs? It's literally everything you can imagine. But it is though, like the managers are there. You know, everyone's there. How nice and plush, and how, you know, what's the thread count on the sheets? And the higher it is, the more likely you are to get there.
No
it's
way
just money,
Ramos
innit?
passing a fucking drug test, by the way.
No.
Put traps on a guy for a lightweight. Behave yourself.
Yeah, you certainly need to get running.
Yeah. Again, though, that
does USADA have reach in Abu Dhabi?
nah, they've got immunity.
Speaking of which, like, do you think USADA has reach in Dagestan? Like, I believe it's Ninja getting a visa to go to Dagestan.
I don't even know.
And they'll be like, "Morning, Dave. Here's your athletes for this next coming month." They'll be like, "So you're going to spend 3 weeks in Dagestan?"
Right.
Yeah, I don't really fancy that, like, to be honest with you. Country that's basically at war.
Yeah, I don't
full
know.
of absolute murderers.
Yeah, Khabib's not saying where he is.
And you'd like me to go and find out their hero and ask him to pee in a cup?
Wake him up at 6 in the morning.
I think, nah, go fuck yourself. How's that sound?
Yeah, I'll just stay outside. I'll stay in Russia.
So Drew's getting tested. Anyone who's in Vegas, I think that's it. You're in Vegas? Oh, come pee in a cup. Allegedly.
Let's look at the comments. Yeah, I think you're going to struggle to get there. Do you think people ever get threatened and get told to just F off? Like,
okay, so all right, Ramos is from Brazil, right? Let's just be pure stereotypical here and say he lives in a favela, right? You walk in a favela with your little plastic cup, like, excuse me, Mr. Ramos.
Exactly. Yeah, wrong house as well. Just some shotgun in your face, like, it'd be terrifying, wouldn't
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You make your own mind up. Kieran, who do I think deserves a title shot rather than who do I want to see? At which weight class, mate?
Let's say heavyweight, I guess we were talking about before, weren't we? Who
yeah.
do you think?
I don't think the division's got... This is the problem with the call-out fucking nature and the entertainment era. I think that it's become such a mess. That what was great about the UFC is that there was almost a progression. You get into the top 10, you challenge a guy in the top 5. You challenge a guy in the top 5. You probably then want to try and have a tear up with the number 1 contender. You win that, you probably get a title fight next. Doesn't seem to work like that.
There used to be a lot more whoever wins this fight will get the title shot. You don't seem to see that as much now.
No,
but
so whoever gets on the mic afterwards,
yeah,
and spits a good rhyme.
Yeah, because those number one contender fights, they're not quite so prevalent anymore. It just seems
Can I
like
get a refill, please?
It just seems like it's, we'll pick it as we go along.
That's exactly what it is, and that lack of structure, I think, has turned some fans off. And I think what's also turned some fans off is that it's like a double fucking paywall, I think, for those in America.
Yeah. It is in England now.
Coke, please. Well, yeah, it is, yeah. It's like, how much of a ball ache did I just have half an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, I've paid for this legitimately. We tried to get it legally.
I know, we can't. It's
We
too
paid
hard.
for it legitimately, and it still took half an hour and fucking password resets and all this stuff.
Nothing works.
Why can't I just sit down, bang a telly on and go, that channel sound done?
Yeah, I know. Nothing. It's all sort of everything with like smart tellers and everything. It's all
Kieran
taking a
says,
while to come
Khabib
through.
and lightweight, here we go.
Has to be Ferguson, isn't it?
I mean, he's sat on the sidelines for that long, though, now, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Do you think we're witnessing the two best lightweights in the world now, or do you think Ferguson slots into that mix, and whereabouts does he slot
I think
in?
Ferguson and Conor are in that mix.
Conor as well?
Yeah, because I think that Conor's game just really doesn't match up well with Khabib. But I think it matches up quite well with Poirier.
Yeah.
Can you
Well,
imagine
he's
the
already
tear
beat Poirier.
I know, but can you imagine the tear up that they'd? I think Poirier's advanced since then.
Yeah.
So, and then by the proof, like, Poirier could win this today and have lost to Conor. And I think Ferguson could possibly beat Khabib. I think he's probably got the best chance out of all of them, including Dustin. But then I think he loses to Conor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I think if the UFC wanted money and fans and stuff like that, them's are the fights that you make, where you get to pass that belt around 4 or 5 real superstars, and you build that whole rivalry up. Like, look at this division we've got.
But
full
then
of killers.
going back to the do they turn up thing, how many times have they tried to make Ferguson Khabib? It won't happen. They keep, was it 3 times they've
It's
done it?
4 times now, isn't it? And they're both pulled out twice, but it has to happen at some. It's fight fans. I don't think there's any fight that people want more in general than Ferguson Khabib.
What about Conor Brock? How many views do you think that'd get?
It's SummerSlam probably.
Yeah, you get a lot. Yeah.
Conor and
Probably where you're going next, actually.
Yeah,
You
Conor
might
and
actually get
Khabib
that
against
before
Brock.
You get Ferguson and. On a serious note, you might actually get Conor in the WWE. Maybe not against Brock.
Yeah.
But you might get Conor in the WWE if you get Ferguson and Khabib.
Do you think?
And I'm being deadly fucking serious.
Do you think they would be willing to do 2 135ers against a 265er? Imagine if they did that.
Bellator have drafted a plan.
Yeah, they've just if Bellator are listening to this, they'd just come up with it. Lesnar against DJ and Cejudo.
Bellator's
Imagine.
playbook must be a fucking right laugh to read.
Tag team. Yeah.
Bellator, here's what we're thinking of doing, right? Can a shark
Right, we'll stop you there. Right, okay.
can a shark
Instead of a ring,
beat a giraffe?
sort of a big tank.
Yeah.
But the giraffe's got
With a beach on one
the
side.
giraffe's got scuba
Giraffe,
gear on.
yeah.
Well, you're gonna make an
he's
even
He's
contest.
a giraffe, isn't he? So he's got his head's out of the water.
And then we're going to juice the giraffe up because it's Bellator.
Yeah, it's like a walking periscope, isn't it? A giraffe, basically, just neck above
Is
the
that what
water.
it is,
Yeah.
There you go.
I think I fancy the giraffe.
Who wins out of a gorilla and a tiger?
Tiger. Easy.
Gorilla.
Nah.
See, I go to gorilla.
Dagestani
chance.
wrestling
Yeah, he's
gorilla.
gonna.
Gorilla's a vegetarian.
When all else
Tigers.
is equal, you go with a grappler,
No.
and I think a tiger's more of a striker.
All right then. Maybe a gorilla might be a tiger. A gorilla against a grizzly bear.
What size?
Both full size. Both,
All right, because I believe a
600
gorilla's
pound gorilla.
about 600 £600, but bears are about 1,400 £1,400.
It's a bear, innit?
Yeah,
The bear wins.
he's also got claws.
Yeah.
Whereas I know the thumbs are a good thing, but the thumbs on a gorilla,
Nah. No chance.
and even having like hand feet, I don't know what you call them. Not really feet, are they?
No, I think they are technically feet, but they're just quite dexterous, aren't they? It's a nice
You
dexterous
call them
foot.
hand feet.
Ramos and
You can hold a banana in it with your foot. It's not a foot.
no, it's not. If you can peel it, maybe if you can hold it, it is. If you can peel it, it's not a foot. Like a cat can't peel a banana, but then they have got feet. But that goes to your point, I suppose, doesn't it? Yeah, if you can peel a banana, it's not a foot. That's what we've learned today. As Ramos is twisting it up a bit here, pushing Makachev against the cage. Again, I'm just assuming Makachev is an absolute grappling sensation. Hand-to-hand combat. No. I think the backlash you'd get for doing animal versus animal fights these days would be...
Do it in Somalia, I reckon.
They used to do it in Roman times, didn't they?
I reckon they did it more recent than that. In fact, they do dog fights and stuff, don't they? Which
Yeah,
is,
that's true.
It's minging.
Yeah, it's bad.
Especially as it's like my breed of dog is
And also-
the favourite for doing that shit.
Yeah.
As well. I can't imagine him doing it. Well, I can because he's a fucking widge, but I can imagine him going for someone, but he's a fucking baby.
Obviously, the main reason I don't like dog fighting is because it's so cruel and it's horrible. Also, who cares if one dog beats another dog? I want to see a shark against a...
We want to mix it up.
Yeah, a shark against 10,000 guinea pigs.
Animals, we need to make it interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's not interesting, is it? Rubbish.
How many ducks will it take to be a tiger?
You're looking at a couple of thousand ducks. I think you need a big amount of ducks.
A couple of thousand ducks. And they just fly down and just pick it up.
It'd be a decent experiment, though, so you stick them all in the cage one by one, just keep opening the
door.
door.
But the thing is, the ducks don't know they're in a fight, do they?
They ain't will
fight back.
You play Rocky music and they're like, oh shit, there's a fight.
Give the duck some testosterone for a couple of months.
I think the duck, when it sees all his mates getting battered, wouldn't know I'm in a fight.
Is there anything more cringy
than a duck? Oh, sorry.
Than a fight that comes out to Rocky music.
Oh. Yeah, it's not good, is it? I can't even say it. It's too embarrassing and pathetic. Nah, when I was waiting for you lot before to come, I was listening to songs in my headphones thinking, oh, this would be my walkout music, this.
To be fair, I've got Living in America on one of my playlists.
Would it?
It's a good song.
Listen, my fucking elliptical playlist has got a Rocky tune to finish on, right?
Has it?
But that's just musical steroids, and only I can hear it, so it's cool. I'm not walking out to an arena in my underpants with 5,000, 6,000, 22,000 people in there on telly, coming out to fucking Eye of the Tiger.
How often do people do that still?
Everybody uses Eye of the Tiger.
There's someone, probably on every card, because you're not watching on the top 4 or 5. Everyone's kind of sensible, but like a couple of them, like, do you know, it's the first time on a big show, they're like, I want Rocky. And I can imagine a guy like...
like Dana, like Simon Cowell, like, we've heard it a million times, mate. Go on.
Dana actually picks some people's walkout songs, didn't he? They go, I want that, and he goes, yeah, you're not having that.
No. Let's pick...
right, that's my walkout song that I come out to. He's like, I think you should come out to, better take that, patience. Yeah.
He doesn't let people change it. Aaron Bisping wanted to change from Blur to Oasis. I think he was like, no, you're sticking with what you've done. It's the branding.
Mickey Gall obviously did.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fine.
Oh, do me head in that.
So you didn't like it, though. So then maybe Dana should have stepped in there.
Yeah.
What would yours be? You have had a fight before, haven't you?
There's no music.
Was there not?
No.
Just you humming the Rocky
music. Just people
music.
like coughing.
That's what mine would be anyway. Just coughing sound effect.
The only one thing I can remember from the walkout is Ben, who I do the Thursday Club with, was right at where I got patted down. He just goes, "Do your shit, lad."
Nice.
And then I couldn't remember anything else.
Do you remember being in there? What it felt like? How much sort of like? How cognizant were you? How much could you actually take in what was happening, and how much of it was just instinct?
I would say for the first full minute of the fight, and I'd say it's from the walkout all the way through. I mean, it's not like UFC where you're standing there for 5 minutes while people are reading shit out. It's literally walk in. Are you ready? Let's have it. Yeah. No, actually, it wasn't. It was walk in, come in the middle, go over the rules again a little bit very quickly. Back to your corners, fight. So it was fairly quick compared to Joe Light.
Yeah, the big
there was no Bruce Buffer fucking getting giddy.
Raining, defending.
Yeah, there was definitely none of that.
No.
Coming up Manchester, O.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the first, I'd say at least minute and a half of the fight, you feel drunk.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's happening, but you're not quite driving.
Yeah.
Or, Joe, would be a better way to do it. You're on a double-decker bus sat at the back, someone else is driving, and you're kind of watching.
Yeah. You know what route the bus is taking because you've been on the bus loads, but you don't decide which potholes you dodge and all that. It's happening for you.
And it happens with such a quickness, it's like, it was bizarre. And that's the only way it feels. It feels very drunk and very out of finger. And I can't remember, I was talking, it might be one of the lads that was in there, it was either Jaden or Mitz, was talking about how, I like the fact that SBG, they desensitise the fighters to stuff like this by doing practice walkouts. So they'll have their walkout tune, and they'll walk from the locker all the way into the cage, and then sometimes they'll have them waiting in the cage while the other guys fuck you about, because you've got to prepare for someone just deciding to fuck you about and take more than the 5 minutes it's meant to take to get in the octagon. And to get cold and to not have your corner there to talk to and feel probably very isolated. I really like that psychological side of the game, because that, I reckon, is a massively underprepared element of fighting, is that whole walkout thing, because it's fucking very unnatural.
Yeah.
When you do any sort of sparring in the gym, it's just a case of like, you'll be a normal session, you do a warm up, and then you'll fucking maybe go and step off the one side of the mat and have a bit of a tear up with someone. There's not this build up. And I think the build-up and getting in your own head is probably a massive, massive part.
Well, how many fighters down the years? Aldo definitely said it, and I think it was maybe, I don't think Diaz would say it because he would never admit any weakness. But Aldo certainly said when he was fighting McGregor, that the media and the having to do all these things put him off in the fight. Like all these things that there's no way of being at your training camp and practicing the fatigue you get from doing interviews, and yet that affects you as a fighter. Something that McGregor's done loads of times. So stuff like media, stuff like
oh shit, Makachev looking to finish, Ramos on the ground. Oh. He's eating bombs.
Yeah,
he's blocking a few, but a few are getting through as well. And this he's tied his hands up very well, but he looks like he's hit a car. He's bleeding out his eye. His nose looks like it might have gone.
He's really tied his arm up there. That was good. Tucked it under his own leg.
Just about in this.
Yeah, he is.
Looks like some 10 Planet shit, that.
It does, doesn't it?
So do you think with you being quite well known now for YouTube, the fact you're fighting next November, do you think that's going to add any more additional
James. We haven't fucking definitely been announcing that for everyone. Like, fuck's sake, every fucking time we come on here, someone drops me in it. Jesus Christ. We've not 100% definitely decided we're doing it.
The announcement.
And he's getting paid £500,000 to do it. Can you believe it?
Do not say the name of the organisation.
UFC.
No, it's not the UFC. Definitely not the UFC. Although I'd fucking do it just to say I'd done it.
KFC.
If it was like, more like KFC. I'd definitely. If you want to fight me in KFC, we'll have it.
Yeah, just him in a KFC, chucking gravy about.
Diving on people.
Yeah, comes in with his shorts.
That podcast with Brendan where Brendan dropped us in the shit. I had a phone call. My missus that hadn't watched the podcast and we hadn't fucking properly discussed it either. So I got a phone call off the missus like, what's this about you fighting again? I was like...
She wasn't happy, really, was she?
No, she wasn't happy. But then I had a chat with her at night, and then she understood the whole idea of it being next November. We would like to do a year-long documentary, making stuff for this channel. Make sure to subscribe. And also fucking giving me time to get in shape. You know, I've got a young family. I've got a boy at high school, and I've got a baby girl that's 7-month-old. I also have to work, so I have to find a way that any training that I do would fit into my work day. An organisation watched the podcast that went out. I think it went out. The podcast went out Wednesday. The clip from the podcast went out Thursday. Someone's fucking messaged us on the back of that and gone, "Do you want to fight in November at the end of this year?" Actually, and you know, obviously the timeline we've all kind of put together in here because content is actually a massive part of doing this thing.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily just doing it because I want to do it. I do want to do it just because I want to do it, and I want to sort of like draw a line under that chapter and then probably never enter the cage again. But go into it knowing I'm never entering the cage again, whereas when I entered it the first time, I had no idea what would happen next. It was just open.
This is a sort of one more go type thing.
Yeah, so I just want to draw a line under it, obviously get back in shape, and also get training regular find a way. I've managed over the last 6 weeks to fit hitting the gym, hitting weights, doing cardio into my regular daily life where it doesn't affect work, it doesn't affect my home life. If I can add a couple of sessions of probably wrestling, to be honest, because I actually do like grappling. And I think that's where I favour towards. I can't be fucking getting digged in the head for the rest of my life. But I can roll. And I think I'd enjoy rolling for the rest of my life. I'd like to be a fucking 70-year-old guy that people are like, stay away from me, he's a fucking gorilla. Like, I'd love that.
I think the people say stay away from him when you're 70, no matter whether you're in the pub or whether you're wrestling. But you'd rather it be in a wrestling way than in... Yeah.
So, I would like to find a way to establish that as part of my life routine for the rest of life. But I'd like to just have one more fight, make a real good documentary about the injuries, the frailties that I've got, the fucking injuries, and document fucking overcoming them, or how we skate around that shit to get me in a cage, then. And like I said, there was an organisation coming and asked, can I do a fight before the end of this year? And I just said, it's going to cost you a lot of fucking money to get me in a cage. This side of that plan. And they didn't have that sort of cash, so I'm not doing it. But I was like, fucking hell, how fast was that? So, I think the fact that, I have got a little bit of a profile, although albeit mostly for football, not really that well known in terms of MMA circles. But I think because of that, I'd probably end up selling quite a few tickets because there'll be plenty of people who want to see me get my head boxed in.
And I would like to take this moment right now to actually announce that the person who will be fighting is me. So November 2020, I'm going to be there.
At welterweight.
Welterweight, yeah, we're going to be doing it at 140 actually. Catch weight. And basically, I'm just going to kick his head in. And he can try and take me down, but try getting through these bloody hands, mate. That's all I'll say. So no, it's not me. Of course, it's not. So, are you excited? Do you think Do you think that I'm being a bit stupid? Do you think, oh, who cares? It's all just a bit of fun. How much are you sort of worried and concerned about what might happen?
I'm not.
Right.
I think my missus is more concerned because she's kind of like I have got 100% more of a profile now than I had in 2010 when I fought last time in a sports hall. She said, if you fight now, it's not going to be in a sports hall. With 50, 60 of your friends watching and the rest of the crowd not knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And she's probably absolutely bang on. The organisation that I'm not going to mention who they are, but the organisation who did get in touch, the show that they've got's going to be. I don't know. I can't say where it is, but I think it's probably 14,000, 15,000 seater.
And what do you think to the fact as well that you'll be coming in as a sort of
it'd be white collar, by the way. Before anyone gets in head, it's not going to be pro or anything like that. It'd be classed as white collar, which means it can pay you.
People, you're going to be coming in as this, again, not a celebrity obviously, but like a personality. You've got a bit of a following, obviously. Well, do you think that the other fighters and the audience, people are going to want to see you get the shit kicked out of you?
More likely.
Come on, try our game. We'll show you what's going on.
More likely, but if anyone did 5 minutes of research, they know I've been in it for more than 10 years, so it's not something.
Yeah.
And I think people might level that at KSI and Logan Paul, and I've seen a lot of shit being slung their way, and I think a lot of it's jealousy, to be honest, from that part. I'm not saying, I'm certainly not going to be getting paid fucking 7 figures for whatever I do. A long way from that. If I had it my way, the show I would like to do would be John Kavanagh's, which is an amateur show. Is it EFN?
Yeah.
Which seems to be basing itself in Manchester, funnily enough. If I had my way, I wouldn't want it to be a big thing. I'm not, I don't give a fuck about selling tickets.
No.
I don't want to do a load of press for it. It's not about that for me.
No.
The journey for me is that they're getting back into shape, they're getting back into a regular routine of training, and then testing myself at the end of it. It's not about actually whether I win or lose in reality. Makhachev's just been given the victory there, obviously. I'll get one in a sec. It's not about the winning or the losing. It's not about, I'm fighting James and we're going to raw. I would literally rather...
Looking forward to it.
He's fighting us both on the same night.
I would literally rather be able to do an amateur show which, there's no posters of, there's no fucking naming lights or anything like that. I'm just matched well with somebody. I don't want to go out and fucking be given a win. And I don't want to go in there against a pro that I'm not up to the standards of. I want to go in there with someone that, maybe Brendan goes, it's a good matchup, that.
Yeah.
I've seen him, I've seen you, this is a good matchup. And a very even matchup, and I would like to just go in with no fanfare whatsoever and do it. And if we can make the content around that, that's how I would like to do it. I don't want I wouldn't want to be on a big fucking YouTube show or anything like that. It's not about that for me. I'm not doing it to do that. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for that. It's a personal thing. I mean, ultimately, yes, I would like to progress this channel, so at some fucking level there's probably money involved.
Yeah, but you're
channel,
not... Yeah,
it's not directly for that.
You're thinking sort of pragmatically rather than, like, not selfishly, of course, but you're thinking of it, how can this help everyone, but this is for you than... You're not. It's not a gimmick, is what you're trying to say.
No, I've been a fan of MMA for a long fucking time. I've been involved in MMA for more than 10 years. I think there's an element where I've dipped out of training regular with MMA, and I'm upset with that. But life gets in the way. I got to earn a living. I got to look after my family, all the rest of that sort of stuff. And I would like to try and regain some of that. And I thought a great way to both regain some of that and also to create some interesting content and advance this channel would be to make some sort of a documentary which illustrates that.
And who is the lucky person that gets to follow you around the gym, and when you get back in your car stinking, and someone gets to film all that, you taking your shirt off,
probably Callum, innit?
Oh, I bet he can't wait. You can't just peeling your sweaty shorts off after. How's it gone, Stu? Try not to throw up. I'm envious of him, to be honest.
Well, I'm excited to see it from my own perspective. To be honest, I really want to see how the journey goes and how all of that looks, and it is what it is, isn't it? What will be, and if it's if it's entertaining and it creates some sort of a following and it helps this channel, fantastic.
And have you? I'm asking this not from. I don't know the answer to this question. I don't have any inside knowledge on this. In terms of an opponent, have you considered the idea of it being another YouTuber or following the steps of that? Yeah, you don't want it to be that. No, kind of...
I don't want it to be that, and I don't want it to be someone I know because I don't want to have any feelings about the person. I just want to go in there and compete.
Yeah,
and it's just that. I want to compete for the competition's sake. I don't want to compete for, like I said, I don't want to compete for money. I don't want to compete for revenge. I don't want to compete for anything other than the pure reason to compete with another person who wants to compete and test themselves. Matt's in there with a decent question. Would I consider doing the fight for charity? Subscribers donate X on the result, and what round it stops like gambling for charity. I don't even know if that's legal.
I think if you're doing it for charity, all the money has to go to charity rather than... So either if they get the bet right, the charity gets the money. If they get it wrong, you keep it.
I can't imagine gambling for Red Nose Day.
No, exactly, yeah. I think if it's a charity thing, it has to all be charity, doesn't it? But it's... in terms of getting people involved, obviously you'll find ways of doing that going forward.
Like I said, there's probably been 4 or 5 people hit me up and said they want to sponsor it already. So I'm sure we're not going to do that. But that might be a good thing for us to do. Every year we do a 24-hour podcast for charity. Maybe we we cover the trading costs and then we give whatever excess we've got over that. Sort of homeless or something along those lines.
Yeah.
If you are watching, thank you for watching. It's just popped up in the bottom right of my screen. Joe Rogan's got 78,000 concurrent watching,
which is what 2-3 more than us. What are we on? 75,000.
1,000 times more than us watching.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd compete with that.
I get it.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, motherfuckers.
But Joe Rogan isn't planning fighting anytime soon, is he? Despite. Although he should have. At some point, it would have been nice at some point to have seen him in the UFC, wouldn't it?
It would be an absolute nightmare.
Just horrible. And also, I think you'd see a side of him where you go, "Oh no."
Well, I know
like
people
a
that have
shaven
rolled with
pit bull, isn't it?
And they go, "He's a fucking nightmare."
Yeah, he seems like he's just got an awful side to him when he wants to.
Yeah, real competitive streak. Not only that, he's obviously very good taekwondo-wise.
Yeah.
So we know that his kicks are fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think that he would probably be an absolute fucking handful.
And a black belt, jiu-jitsu black belt.
He says his hands aren't that great, but he wrestled at high school and is a BJJ black belt.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. Kickboxing background as well. He'd have been a monster if he'd have chosen to actually do it.
He'd have been good. He would have been in that realm of he could be a real UFC. He's not like.
I've no doubt he'd be a UFC level fighter.
Yeah.
Whether or not he could have been a champion, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, because that depends. He would have had
There's
to
so
carry
many
on.
X factors in there.
Yeah, and also if you think back through his story, if he'd gone into the UFC when he was 22, 23, he wasn't a jiu-jitsu black belt then.
No.
So he probably wouldn't. He almost would have been at his best when he was about 40.
But if the UFC had have been around 10 years prior to when he was 12, and he would have gone, because like so many people, as soon as they found the UFC, they was like, oh, what is this? Oh my God, what's he doing in the pajamas? Because I thought martial arts, I thought fucking widgets that are doing karate and stuff like that. Not interested.
And like you see the Instagram videos all the time of these people who are like people doing this and like they're falling over all this pathetic
Go follow
rubbish.
McDojo on Instagram. It's amazing.
Like when I was at school,
the guy's catching swords with chi.
Yeah, and you didn't know whether jiu-jitsu was a real one or a fake one. Like you didn't even know which ones were real. It was hard to know what, because there's all those like all different names for stuff. Like let alone I'd never heard of anyone training MMA until I was in sixth form. Like people didn't do that. Like so, like I said, if it was around when he was 20,
oh man,
or 10,
there was a guy came and give my squadron a jiu-jitsu lesson. And if he'd have been a better jiu-jitsu coach with some fucking personality, he was just a fat dickhead in a gi.
Yeah.
Right.
Fat dickhead in a gi.
For starters, no gi would have been so much more applicable to soldiers. Although you can actually make a case that
you could grab.
But either way, like no gi would have been, I felt, been more applicable. Mm-hmm. So do what we did for the entire lesson, because I've took mates to the gym and gone, I'll show you a couple of things. I was usually showing me either a guillotine or a Kimura or a rear naked choke, something like that. And they can pick that up quite easy because they're quite basic things to pick up. And you can give them a triangle, just something like it's quite basic. Look, here's side control, here's guard, this is mount. You can run through a few things like that and you can get it. You can figure it out. You're in the shit here. Do you know what we did for an hour? Break falls.
I don't even know what that is.
Right? Where you fall down and smack the floor.
Oh, you put your hands on the floor, yeah.
For an hour.
Yeah.
And what everyone went? What's this bullshit?
Yeah. And the thing is, that is applicable and that's necessary, but it's not how you get people excited about jiu-jitsu.
You show them how to, like, when you've got a group of 45 fucking 20 and 21-year-old soldiers, you show them how to strangle each other.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
And then
they're back the next day.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
show me some more shit, because everyone's dead now in that fucking block.
Yeah. I did take it a bit far. I was practicing to the point of death on everyone. Yeah, there's ways of getting people excited, isn't there?
Yeah, and he was not that.
I always think, I had teachers at school where you think, you enjoy making this boring. You aren't this boring outside of school. You like it that we hate it. And that makes, it might have been like that. One of those weirdos who just draws everything on the board and makes you copy it off all the time. I hated that.
It was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So we got Paul Felder just getting patted down just on his way in. Looks absolutely shredded.
It does. I mean, most of them do, don't they?
No, I think he's gone about 5% beyond what would normally be considered as shredded.
He's just having a hug and a bit of a real emotional hug.
Is he actually crying? It looks.
It looked like it, didn't it?
Wow.
Well, it's the biggest fight of his career, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And the thing is, Barboza as well. Most UFC finishes by elbow in history. 3, which isn't that many, is it? But still, interesting.
Depends.
One of only 6 spinning backflip knockouts in UFC history.
It was Romero nearly knocked out Jacare with that spinning back fist, didn't it?
He dropped him with it.
Yeah.
Romero's got to be up there now with one of the greatest fighters to have never held the belt.
I think
it's a good call.
Well, Bisping was always the one touted as that, wasn't he, for years?
And then he got it.
But yeah, I think Romero's better than Bisping, isn't he? In terms of what Romero's like. There's all those, a truck, a lorry, a brick shit, all those things. He's just more than that. He's like fighting a space shuttle. He's just pure rocket fuel and just energy. And him against Costa.
Loyal, man.
Him against Costa. It was ridiculous.
But it was everything we wanted.
It was like one of those slow-mo car tests.
Every single meme you've ever seen about UPS, FedEx, whatever, it delivered.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Bang on. Oh, look at the reach difference there. Right, do you know what they've not said here, which is well important, is the fucking leg reach. Because like I said, this for me is a fight of distance. Who can control the distance here? Felder can get just inside that leg range and into sort of hand range, then I think he's probably got half a chance. If he stays on the outside, if he stays in leg range and out of hand range, he's going to get fucked up. So it's interesting to see which happens. Felder should be looking to push Barboza up against the cage, get, like we said, those elbows, get in tight with the elbows, rough him up, bully him a little bit. Barboza wants to keep the range, keep him away with his feet, and probably look for a finish. Yeah. I have no idea which way this goes.
I'm gonna pick Barboza because that's what I want to see. I like Barboza. He's one of those.
Yeah, I kind of.
He was
like
around
Barboza
when I first started watching, and he's exciting. And he's always one of those people that you think something mental might happen here, like Uriah Hall as well.
Oh, yeah.
Uriah Hall's probably one of the most untalented talents ever.
Yeah.
I expected him to do loads after the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
and he's done nothing.
That's the levels, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that like when you look at footballers, you'll see them doing these like street skill stuff that'll blow your mind. Never see them doing it on a pitch.
Well, look at the people who are known for those skills, or this F2 and all that. Like, you think it's amazing, but the taking the step up to actually being a professional footballer is so difficult.
Useless.
But the fact that he actually can do it in a fight, spinning kick someone's face off. I just want to see it. I'm going to go for him. What do you think? I know you said you can't pick, but what do you reckon?
I'd like Felder to win. I think there's every chance he walks onto something massive. But as I said before, I think momentum-wise it's in Felder's favour. But you can't write off Barboza completely, can you?
No.
And Bruce Buffer's about to get it going.
Bruce Buffer's jacket.
How's he coming up with ideas still for different-looking jackets?
Do you think he's got a guy, or do you think he does his
without a shadow?
I think he does sketches on the plane. I want this one to look like the sofa from a 1970s...
A DFS Boxing Day sale.
Yeah, from a house in Worksop in 1970.
What he's got there, he's wearing the texture from Doom.
What, the floor?
Yeah, he's wearing the texture from Doom with a purple trim.
When you put it like that, it sounds great. It sounds gorgeous, doesn't it?
Do you know what? We've not even mentioned how fucking great it is to have fights on at this time of day.
Oh, that was the first thing I wanted to say. It's not 3 a.m. I've actually got energy. I'm excited. I can do stuff after this. Can you imagine being able to do something after a UFC card?
I'm going to bed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fucking well tired, yeah.
I might go for a couple of pints.
I had to go for a walk with the missus before.
You're joking? I thought you've been doing cardio at the gym. You should be able to go for a walk.
But I still don't want to go for it. I don't want to.
It was the mental tired of actually having to be out in nature.
I'm hungover for one.
Right.
And then...
What, were you doing anything fun last night? What were you getting up to?
Went to a wedding.
Where was that?
A place where people get married.
Ah, the old wedding place.
Yeah, man. And then, well, we walked to the pub.
He's complaining about going for a walk.
Yeah,
I thought you were going hiking or
no,
something.
there's an hill involved.
Yeah, look at the little...
Yeah, it must be the local athletic or something.
Must be, yeah.
We're about to start Felder Barboza.
I wonder how long the ring girl will last in terms of acceptable.
We've had dudes, haven't we? Which organisation was it? Was it Bellator? I want to say it was Bellator.
Was it?
Of course.
Ooh.
Even if it wasn't, it was.
We just saw Barboza kicking a Felder
spinning back fist.
10
I'm
seconds.
just going to Google ring
Blokes.
card.
Because you don't even see too much sort of furore about it, do you? Another spinning back fist by Felder.
Felder's just launched.
They're going for it here.
Good leg kick from Felder.
Yeah. I'm excited
Was
for
it
this.
one?
Oh,
Felder's on the front foot.
the whip on those Barboza kicks is ridiculous, isn't it?
He's launching those hooks.
It's just like Indiana Jones with his whip, just cracking them on your calves.
Yeah, it's happened. I don't know where it happened, but it's happened.
Yeah.
It's a thing. How long do you think ring girls have got left before the PC moves
Oh,
gets rid
so
of them?
thinking.
Quarter of an hour.
Quarter of an hour. They'll be gone back, mate.
I'm amazed they're here, to be honest.
Yeah, without much, you don't hear much about it at all, do you?
Felder is too hard for his own good.
Yeah.
There we go. But what he's doing is he's got a clinch up against the cage at the minute, which I kind of like the idea.
I think has his nose gone because he just had a feel.
Yeah,
that
the
there's
way he
a
just
house.
did that was like he was addressing something there, wasn't he?
This is where I want to be, though, holding Barboza against the cage.
Yeah, I think I'd like Barboza to win this because he's had a rough time of late.
He hasn't.
Not picked great fights, which is on him.
No.
Or
Oh
his
yeah,
management.
look, his nose is pissing blood.
I think that's
Felder.
Felder's nose. That's
It is.
it
You
is.
could tell
All
he
over
felt
the
it
show.
like it's something's not right.
Damn it.
He knows his nose was broken there. Wasn't he?
Like the video
Did
if you enjoy watching dudes get beat up in their underpants.
When you put it like that, I feel really bad about enjoying this.
Yeah.
And let us know what sort of thing you'd be interested in for this vlogging of this journey, which may or may
Good
not
body
be
shot
happening.
from Felder.
I'm gonna come
I've got
up
to
with
keep
it.
prefacing it
leg
like
kicks
that in
are
case
so
it doesn't
mean.
happen.
Yeah. Well. Oh, he keeps whipping in, doesn't
Big
he?
swings from
Hey,
Felder.
I'll tell you what, it's 100% more real than Rio Ferdinand's ever was.
Do you think he knew he was never going to get to fight?
I watched him on the pads once and was like,
He's limited. He's robotic.
I'm sorry, but the hashtag defender to contender. Sorry, I can't even say it. It was great.
amazing.
And
It's
then
about
all of a
as good
sudden it
as
didn't
it got.
happen. I don't think they came up with that knowing he was never going to fight, do you?
Felder heard my game plan anyway.
Yeah, he's
oh, there we
Elbow,
go.
good elbow
That's that
from
elbow.
Felder.
Yeah.
Have some of that, lad.
Is he bleeding from his head, or is he
think
pushed
it
his
might just
nose
be,
and then put his head against?
Body kick from Barboza.
Barboza's kicks. See, this is where you don't want to be.
No.
Too far away from Barboza because he can hit you with
How
them
much would
legs.
you have to be paid to take a Barboza kick to the stomach?
do it for like a...
Give me 50
Extra
quid. I'm a
large
desperate
pizza.
man.
50 quid? What if he's just sick?
Can
and
we
you...
kick you for 50 quid?
Look, I'm a student. I'll take 50
Oh, right here
That's
in
how we're
the
ending
red
this.
corner.
That's how we're ending this stream. Hopefully I can
That's
kick him
your
better than I
white
kicked
collar
that penalty last
It's
week.
front of the bank for us.
What's he doing here? He kicked him in the
We had
the goulash.
We had a ball shot.
Felder wants to
We had a
carry
ball
on.
shot.
Are they giving him
No,
5 minutes?
doctor, is it doctor for the eye?
Oh, don't
Doctor
call
for
it
summer.
already.
Oh, mate.
I don't think that's too bad.
That's not
What
fair.
is it?
Let them fight.
Who was
Let
it? We
them
saw
fight.
the other week. There was I think it was the last time I was in here. In who was it?
On Thursday.
The last time I did
Oh, it's
the
Clash of
MMA
Legends.
later. And there was a cut that was like
They're letting him fight on.
just an awful cut. That's not that bad, is it?
So he comes in just
I know.
flinging stuff. There's no technique there, is there?
How much would you have to be paid for him to kick you as hard as he can?
Barboza, I'd do
Yeah.
it for the story.
Would you
Take the
actually?
store.
Yeah.
What if he breaks all your ribs?
I kissed a midget in Blackpool for the story.
That's not the same, is it?
It's not, no, but like, I'll do stuff for the story
story.
at times. And
Do
this
you mean
is
your
one of those
Instagram
times.
story, or just the actual being able to
Oh,
tell
the
people
verbal
about it?
story.
Both.
Look, bad decisions, good stories.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of which, we might be driving to Kazakhstan.
Oh yeah. have
By might be, we're fucking definitely trying to plan
we're
to drive
trying
to
as
Kazakhstan.
much as we can. Have we got any closer to sorting the logistics out on that yet?
Yeah, basically, you're looking at, I don't know, it's figuring out the insurance. I'm also concerned about the number of people who. No, do you know what? I'm concerned that there's articles which tell you how many people die driving from west to east in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Isn't good, is it?
No.
But we're not going from west to east. We're going from west to the middle.
West to sort of
In an easterly
northeast,
direction.
west to northeast. Yeah, if you look as well on certain websites, if you go on the sort of Kazakhstan government websites, they're like, the roads are pretty good now. You can get west to east, no problem. And then you go on
sometimes. What was the word they used? Because there was a word where you're like,
yeah, just like satisfactorily or something. And then you look on people's actual like travel diaries and stuff, and they're like, the roads are an absolute mess. It's like driving over sandcastles, and it's just rocks, camels, sand. You ain't getting there.
Not sure it's camels.
There was on the video we saw.
Really?
There was a dash cam montage of Kazakhstan. Tons of camels on that. I don't know if they were put there for the video or they were driving through some sort of holiday resort.
Oh, that was a decent shot by Barboza. Felder's face is covered in blood.
Do you know what? This looks like a horror film at the moment. Doesn't it? He's bleeding from... If he's got an hole on his face, it's bleeding. That's his mouth, both nostrils, both eyes, and he's even got one in his hairline as well.
Yeah.
Oh, was that an inside elbow? Oh, mate. Barboza throwing inside elbows.
Barboza looks like he's working very hard to keep him off.
Yeah.
Well, this is Barboza's game. He knows he can't get backed up. Is he at AT&T now as well? ATT. Is he with another mobile phone?
Verizon, yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah, Felder's chopped up a bit, isn't he?
Big time.
I'd still feel, despite that, I'd still feel relatively happy if you were Felder.
I mean...
Really?
Barboza looked like he was tiring towards the end of that round, and Felder's not going to stop applying pressure.
I don't think I agree. I think it looked like Barboza was getting confident and not engaging when he didn't have to. Could be wrong.
It looked like he was watching himself be successful and knowing that he didn't have to do anything more than what he was doing.
I would go on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time just cleaning the sheer amount of blood that is all over Felder's kite.
It's amazing how easy the blood comes off, though, isn't it?
Just because of sweaty in it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's got to dry on.
No, that's true. So Felder went through the clinch a couple of times. That's where he cut his head. Look, clash of heads going up against the cage.
Because he comes into it wild.
Yeah. It's almost like he's just going, if I just swing and look down, he can't hit me.
Does Felder know he's allowed to use a jab?
I don't really know.
RTV's going to shut down today. Can we get a remote?
Start the second round. Obviously, I think we've all got Barboza winning that.
Yeah, I think Barboza won, yeah.
Yeah.
Just come out looking at box.
Again with that spin.
He loves that spin.
It's weird,
shit,
isn't it? Do you think he just likes throwing it, or do you think they've purposely worked on it as a tactic?
It might settle people down a little bit or scare them. Or, it makes you think, doesn't it?
Good jab from Barboza.
Yeah, really nice.
If Felder threw his jab a little bit more, he'd probably have a lot more success because he's trying to come into range. Look, he leads with his right or his head.
I'm so worried about those kicks that jabbing range is great kicking range as well, isn't it? I think he's a bit worried as he comes in. That's why he's just sort of rushing in like that. Look.
Yeah, he's totally just like
jumping into it.
Yeah, he's just trying to absolutely bulldog him, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't mean to press that.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much. We've almost seen more crazy stuff from Felder than we have from Barboza so far. Barboza's been much more composed and sort of...
Looks good.
Yeah, he does look really good. Oof. Oh,
hard leg kick from Barboza.
Unbelievable. Well, he can do that. He's good at that, is he? Barboza taking...
Wait a minute! Down. Ref! So, the fuck's this? Barboza just took Felder down.
He's lost his head.
He don't have a clue what he's doing, though, does he? Felder sort of grapevined him a little bit and just...
From above, look, he's putting his hand on top of his head. Barboza, where he's taking a few elbows in a row.
That's Felder's game, is the elbows, isn't it? As we saw. Loves an elbow. The old Spanish archer.
Oh, Barboza's bleeding a lot there. Did you see that splash on his
He's landed some
Felder's
decent
chest?
elbows.
I think he's bleeding a lot from the top of his head there.
He's very wet, though.
No, you can see it pouring down onto him.
Elbow's just nasty, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's a bad cut.
That's dripping.
Yeah.
That might be a stopper.
Felder... And he's
having to wipe it, so this is bad.
Barboza's head is gushing.
Is it the top of his head?
It's only the second round as well. This is a long time still to go.
There might be a couple of cuts there.
Oh, these elbows.
He's going to regret taking him down there. He'll regret that.
Do you know what? You'd have less trouble if you headbutted a chainsaw than you would have.
Felder's chest looks like someone's poured just a bucket of blood on it.
Get ready for a wallpaper shot because this is going to look sensational by the end of this.
And
you're not going to get that. There's no way you can get that on with the amount of blood that's on both of you.
Felder's
going for an armbar.
Look at that.
Wow.
Barboza is bleeding like insane.
Well, if he carries on bleeding like this, they won't get to the third round because he'll be fucking dead.
Has anyone ever passed out from blood loss in a?
Nah, you don't use that.
Was
much.
it a couple
the
of
thing
pints
is, it's
in
a
it?
little bit of sweat in it.
Yeah,
and it makes
when you
just
mix
go
it with
a long
water,
way,
yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's
even
like-
when
it's
it
like
looks like an
watercolours.
absolute bloodbath, it's like
good shot
it's like
from
100
Felder.
mil in it.
Yeah.
You've got loads more blood in you.
Yeah, like when you spill a beer and everything's soaking wet and the beer's like that much has gone out of it. You're like, oh, it's not that much, is it? It's got to be. I wonder when you first start training. I don't know if you ever had this in your training.
I've never been cut.
I was going to say that initial reaction of I'm going to die because you're not used to seeing your own blood on that scale, are you?
Only nosebleeds. I've had nosebleeds. I think nosebleeds are pretty and like a cut lip, but not like around the eyes or anything.
No.
Is that another inside elbow from Barboza? Fucking Christ!
Look at these two. Fucking hell. This is a good fight, though, isn't it? Come on.
Well, we said this, didn't we? This was why they was literally booked to do this in the middle of a load of Dagestani fucking grapplers. That was it. You two get in there, make each other bleed like fuck. Happy days.
Get your fight of the night bonus.
Yeah, they're gonna get paid
Yeah.
in a fucking suitcase later.
Where is he
Allegedly.
bleeding from, Barbo? We'll have to see at the end of the round, I think. It's hard
I'd
to
say
tell.
that general area.
Well, he was throwing those
Heavily.
like downward elbows into the top. You can see in the
Yeah, it
top
might
of
be
his
that on
head.
the top of his head there.
Fucking hell.
Mint.
Because Felder's bleeding seems to have been.
Felder a second ago for a jab and followed it in with a fucking elbow.
Because Felder's cuts have stopped bleeding almost entirely, haven't they?
What number's that? So one what?
1:18, 29.
When did I really start getting into UFC? I think it was UFC 65. I think it was. I think it was. Joe, let's Google it. It was BJ Penn and GSP was the one that was the first one I went to watch, and there was one before that which I happened to watch. Someone from the army was like, "I think you'd like this," and I was like, "I do like this." And let's have a look when it was, because it was one GSP fought on, and then he fought GSP. He fought BJ Penn after it.
Yeah. Speaking of BJ Penn, did you talk about this on the last Watchalong?
Yeah, we spoke about it on the news show.
Oh,
awful.
It's just sad, isn't it?
You can't be getting laid out in street brawls.
Well, the other thing is, I feel like I've got a
see how
chance of
fast he
knocking him
went.
out.
It were bad.
It's just sad, isn't it? What do you think it is? Do you think
Oh, no,
it's
56 it was, not 65. So it was the Sean Shirt one, and then he fought BJ Penn in the next one, UFC 58. So November 2005, it was while I was in Oman, just before I went to Afghanistan, and I watched the 58 one, the BJ Penn one, just before I went to Afghanistan. Fuck me, that was a long time ago, 2006. Yeah, so that's how long I've kind of watched it, and I started training in it in 2008.
When did you start watching it?
UFC? Probably about 5 or so years ago. 6 years. Something like that.
UFC 100 was the first one I ever watched. Yeah. I watched. It was the day before I was going on holiday, and I stayed up and watched it, and I just.
Pretty sure GSP was on that as well.
UFC 1, yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Thiago Alves.
Yeah, and Bisping Hendo was on that one as well.
There was, do you know what? When you actually read,
Best card ever.
possibly best card ever, yeah.
I think for me.
Dollaway, Lawler, Dong Young Kim, TJ Grant, Matt Danzig, Jim Miller, fucking John Jones,
Yeah.
John Jones on
Stephen
the
Bonner and
prelims.
Mark Coleman,
When they would, yeah.
Akiyama and Belcher, John Fitch and Paulo Thiago, Bisping Hendo.
I'll tell you what, the
GSP
Bisping
Alves,
Hendo
Brock
rematch.
Lesnar, Frank Mir. Fucking hell. That was a fight card.
Yeah.
That Bisping Hendo rematch was probably the most nervous I've ever been for a UFC main event.
Really? You're
Yeah.
a big spin guy.
Big
aren't you?
Bisping guy. And my gut feeling was that Hendo was going to catch him at some point, and he did twice.
Yeah.
And Bisping had to show some serious battle to get through it that night.
I'm not sure I watched that one live, you know.
Fucking lots
I watched.
of
I've
fellas.
Yeah,
seen
he went
it
down in the
since.
first and then went down at
Hell of a
second as
lot.
well.
It's a big lot. A lot of meat there.
I know, Felder.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a big guy, isn't he?
He's come into it big time in the third round. I think maybe the bloods spurred him on a little bit and maybe rattled Barboza.
And maybe
he
he looks a bit tired to me, Barboza. The output's slowed
he's
down
not
a lot.
throwing any kicks.
No.
Throwing kicks is fucking hard. If you want to
Yeah.
get a workout going on a bike, start hitting a body kick on it. Ooh.
Yeah, he's.
you go.
Oh, there's one now. You just see
Switch
that
kick
that
so
quick
fast.
little, his feet just dance a little bit, and then you just hit with a car. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But he's, like I said, definitely slowed down.
I think he's slowed down enough to probably lose this now,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
I'd call it 1-1.
I'd
so far.
agree, yeah.
Although-
Barboza looked good for the first
Yeah.
half of the round, but the damage that Felder did probably enough to
Yeah,
win
and
the
even though
round.
it was from the bottom.
Just looking at it, they've got the payouts for UFC 100. The two main events, Brock and GSP. 400k for Brock, $400K for GSP. Their opponent, Frank Mir, $45,000.
Wow.
Alves, $60,000. Why was Alves getting more than Frank Mir? A shit contract that was. Third on the bill.
Well, Frank Mir was probably...
Paulo Thiago, $8,000. TJ Grant, $5,000.
Frank Mir was probably on the
What did
contract
Henderson
that he
get?
signed before he was
Henderson
champion.
$250. Bisping was on $150.
$150 for that.
That's a good one.
And 400K, that's before... Did they do pay-per-view points and stuff back then?
They probably would have done, yeah.
There's no way Frank Mir only came out with 45,000. You'd think
He
closer,
can't have done.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Topping the biggest
Because
pay-per-view
that's still
of all time.
did that make do $1 million? $1 million pay-per-view buys.
I think it died on, yeah.
Look, another cut by
Felder's really
Barboza.
walking Barboza down. Barboza had to run around the cage to try and get some space in between him. That was what we said would have been the key to the victory, innit? Is walk him down, press him up against the cage, elbow the fuck out of him. They're both doing
Spinning at the same time. It's like Beyblades in there then, weren't they? Spinning and smashing into each other. Yeah, they're both slowed down a bit, I think, now.
No shit.
I know.
Fucking 500 degrees.
500 degrees in that first round when they were just smashing into each other.
Blood's drying out like it's fucking roasting.
Exactly.
Yeah, great game plan here by Felder because he's cut off all the angles and he just walks him down and he steps into range where hands can do the damage and he knows that Barboza's not got it in his hands.
Yeah. And as well with the kicks, he's
job.
slowing down with his kicks.
He's too close, yeah. The kicks have slowed down and you have to have a certain level of distance to be able to throw the kick.
Yeah.
Or you can just get taken down, so... He's managed the distance very well in this, and he looks very good actually in the third. Like deep into the third, I'd say Felder's probably taking this on the cards.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, this third round. Has been
If this third round goes how he'd like it to.
Oh, it's nearly Khabib time.
The closer it gets, I can't see anything other than Khabib just doing him.
Well, the one bet that I have on's still is Poirier via submission. I'm just fucking. As soon as that happens, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to sit here for 5 rounds and watch Khabib just fuck his legs.
I'd love to see it, just because I
Like
like.
what's going to happen.
Just because I can't imagine seeing it, I just want to see it for that reason.
I want to see Khabib get beat tonight because I don't think there's many people who deserve a UFC title more than Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him.
He's
win.
got to be one of the nicest guys in the sport, and all the charity work he does back in Lafayette as well.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy, doesn't he? I'll tell you who isn't a nice guy. Edson Barboza with those kicks.
The horrible.
It's just the horrible way to lose to fight someone, isn't it? Or to be sort of beaten up.
Well, Terry Etten was never the same again, was he?
What did he do after that?
Cried, I think.
In my head, he's like
A lot.
on Shutter Island somewhere,
Should we
just
have a look? I actually
with a
don't
blanket
know
over him.
what he went and did. I can't imagine it was much though.
No. After he just
20 seconds left of this one.
it's still
I don't think he fought much after that. I think he did fight, but
it's still maybe the most.
no,
Fought
he fought
twice
2 more
more.
times. Wow, not fought since 2013. He had a full year out. That was the right thing to do, and lost. And then came back against.
Oh, Felder taken down with about 5
come back
seconds
up
to go.
on Bellator actually, so they would have cut him. To be fair, he lost to RDA, 1 win. Lost to Barboza, lost to Fort. They would have cut him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have cut him on the back of that. Barboza just run off like he won it. But, well, both of them have.
Yeah, both men have their own to do that. I would edge towards Felder.
Yeah, me too. Just about.
Yeah, I think I'd say Felder gets it, but we've seen some funky decisions tonight. Not necessarily that we don't agree with them, but
Yeah.
those switch kicks to the body are nasty, man.
What do you think, Barboza going forward then? If he does lose this, maybe we should
he
save
tried to
that.
throw the elbow again, then didn't he?
Yeah.
He's leading with an elbow. That's mad.
There, look, he's checking his nose, Felder.
I think Barboza, if he doesn't get it tonight, is in and around done.
Yeah.
Not in terms of competing, but he's going to drop down to 10th in the rankings. It's a long way back up from there.
Yeah.
Especially with how many losses he's had in his last whatever.
It'd be
That'd
4
be
in his last 5.
4-1 in his last 5. It's not good, is it? And it probably is. But, he's not fighting fucking mugs.
No, but he is sort of dropping down that list of if you ever want to be champion or being around that, you should really be beating Justin Gaethje. You should really be beating Paul Felder. No offense to them, obviously, but
33 years of age.
he's not that old.
Don't know. He's had a lot of fights.
Yeah, he has.
2009 he started fighting. No way.
Significant strikes are with Felder.
Yeah. And it went up in that final one, didn't it, really? Barboza sort of just slipped from the first, really.
Yeah, just a slight decline each round, wasn't it? And then Felder in that final round put in almost twice as many punches together.
It's nearly time for smash.
Smash, smash, smash. It's going to be in it.
Yeah, I'm on that list.
No, I'm daring to dream tonight. I'm hoping for Dustin win.
Oh, I'd love it.
The Diamond.
Love it. The Diamond. I like the nickname, but I don't really get what it means.
Well, it's
just
like Diamond in the rough, innit?
Do you think?
But if you want to... He literally is a diamond of a human being.
That's true. That is the decision then.
Right. Hopefully this goes towards Felder.
Split decision.
Didn't give Felder a round the first judge.
What?
Split decision.
Felder. Oh, Barboza, you see the absolute... Took the jam right out of his donut then, didn't they?
It's amazing that it can be 30-28 to one guy and 30-27 to the other guy.
I think it's harsh to not give Barboza a round.
Yeah. But then again, I think...
Yeah, Felder's crying again.
If anyone won 3 rounds, it was probably Felder.
Yeah. He's got an ugly cry and all.
Yeah, he has.
Probably.
Yeah, a lot of blood, sweat and tears going on at the minute, isn't there?
That's his defining victory.
How old is Paul Felder?
Got to be about 35, 36.
I was going to say, he's not a young guy, is he?
So I'll just comment, is it true Dustin win? No.
Is it true Dustin win? That's like that.
Reply yes, it'll be buzzing his betters cashed in.
Is it true Dustin win?
The Irish Dragon, Paul Felder, not even fucking Irish.
How old is he? 35.
See, he's a fucking inch taller than me, and he's fighting at fucking lightweight. The absolute monsters at heavyweight. Oh, mate, we've got to get to 205.
Yeah, he can't be doing 265.
And I think middleweight is just not happening.
Because you can have people who are...
That's all.
Do you think? You can have people who are quite muscly and quite fat and 6'2" in heavyweight. Like, you can't be a heavyweight.
Like Frank Mir.
Yeah. He's 6'3", a bit really muscly and a bit fat. And you can't be going up against that.
Unless you're world class in one area. If you're world class in all areas, just go for it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, if I'd have spent the last 10 years just fucking, Dagestani grappling.
Yeah.
Fuck it, why not? I'll have a go. But I haven't.
No.
I'm eating pizzas and chatting shit, so
yeah.
We've got problems.
Which gym did you do that in? Who subscribes the eat pizzas, chat shit training method?
Jamie Vardy training
you need to come and buy my ebook.
Jamie Vardy. Yeah, I think it's staying out of that heavyweight division would be a good start.
I mean, not light heavyweight's not exactly.
It's not much better, is it?
No, because I've had a cuddle off Jimmy Manua. Right?
And by cuddle, you mean?
I mean a cuddle.
Special cuddle. Special cuddle.
No, wait a minute.
Jimmy takes you back to his house, gives you a few
I had a fucking
drinks.
cuddle off him, and it was like hugging a fucking oak tree.
Yeah.
The guy's back just went on forever, and you're just like, getting light heavyweight, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think... and you think middleweight's out of the question?
Yeah.
That's £100 you need to lose.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's 60 and then a weight cut.
Yeah, no.
No. In a year, though?
Well...
Because you should lose 40...
Oh, well, no, I'm aiming to get to about 225, which puts light heavyweight well within reach. And who knows, it might go great, and you end up at whatever anyway. I haven't had a proper DEXA done. I'm only using a smart app and some smart scales, which is giving me the rough. It's saying I've got a fucking crazy amount of muscle in there, which I'm like, I have got quite a large amount of muscle, but I don't think I've got as much as this fucking app's telling me I have.
Yeah.
Because it's saying I'm like 24% body fat, and I'm like, feel I'm a bit more. I feel I'm a bit more than that.
Yeah, I don't think so. No offence.
Yeah, I feel I'm a bit more than that.
Well, how is he doing that then? What does that do? Do you have to put your finger in it or something? That's how much I know about nutrition and all that stuff. Put your finger on it.
Electrical signals for your feet.
And that's meant to check like density, how
yeah,
fast
it gives
bounce
you
back and all that.
I'll show you the...
Where's the scales at your house?
Yeah, the scales are at home.
Oh, I should bring them in here. We should all do it.
Well, I brought them in here. And Mrs. went, can we bring it home?
Oh, really? She's using it.
There you go.
Okay, so it tells you your BMI, your body fat percentage 24. That's no offence.
It's still big.
It's big, but it's not that big. Not you big. No, I'm joking. I don't mean that. It is gonna be me who fights in it if I'm not careful.
Studio
yeah,
58
please.
white collar.
But everything else seems about correct from what I've heard.
Yeah. And that
Bone
probably
mass
is
and stuff
right.
like that, water,
It probably is
protein.
24%. Because it's not. You don't have the shape of someone who's just massively fat, do you? You've got sort of a...
Well, no, I'm still broad.
You got yeah, exactly. So it's probably not as.
So if that being the case, then even to get under 10%, you're looking at. You're looking at like £70, like
fat.
That's in total. So if you was just to go to 10%, you're looking at. You're still looking at maybe only £50 coming off, which is 225, 230 sort of region, and being quite ripped.
So do you think you have a lot more muscle now than you did when you fought at 170 then?
Fucking, yeah.
How have you got that?
Well, a lot of the weights that I've done since has been a lot of just compound stuff.
Right.
Plus, you think, I'm heavier, so 10 years of walking around being heavier, your legs are going to get bigger. My calves are bigger, my quads are bigger, my bones probably fucking weigh more.
Your beard's longer.
My head definitely weighs more.
And that's got to add an ounce or two, hasn't it?
Fucking right big dome, innit? So, there's... Thank you.
Cheers.
I'm definitely just a fucking bigger human being. But I'm certainly not big enough to be fucking about with heavyweights.
So when you started doing MMA, had you done martial arts before that? Was that your first dive into
I played rugby.
Rugby or...
Which give me a natural tendency to have a pretty powerful takedown. Aside from that, no, I'd kind of boxed sort of like casually as fuck for I never competed or anything, but used to go to Shannon's gym quite often, where Prince Aaron, Denton Vassell, Bob Shannon, and do a little bit of stuff there. Mostly just hitting the bag and doing the workouts that they did. Not really doing anything technical or anything like that. But my hands was always like all right, you know what I mean? Never, it was just all right. It was the grappling that I sort of favoured and really sort of took to. I don't know why. It's just when you go, I fucking wish I'd have found this
earlier.
10, 12 years of age, something like that. I fucking loved it.
But I suppose you'd have been doing that instead of rugby then, wouldn't you? And you love rugby, so
maybe. Yeah,
you can't
maybe.
regret it too much, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, you don't know which path anything could have gone.
No.
But I did. I do like wrestling, and the issue at the minute is wrestling's so fucking hard that I need to probably get another £30 off before I can start really trying. I ain't got a gas tank.
No.
A technical whatever. I'm not no fucking jiu-jitsu black belt. I can just roll on my back and just fuck people up. I'm not. Wrestling's not like that anyway.
No.
You've got to have a level of fucking
so
fitness anyway. Yeah. So, but as soon as I'm probably like 240, 245, I think I'm probably going to go spend at least a few sessions a week with Brendan down at ASW, I think.
Where is that? Where are they based?
It's near the airport, but like Altrincham side of the airport.
Is it? What have you been there before then?
No.
Have you not?
No. Just chatting to Brendan.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. It's exciting as well, isn't it? Like you said, like you're doing it for yourself, kind of thing. Like just going through that.
Yeah, it's just a nice story arc.
Yeah,
isn't it? I almost was thinking like this 12-month. Hopefully, once we start the documentary, those 12 months I think need to be 12 chapters. Chapter 1 probably needs to be spending a week with a strength and conditioning guy.
Can we do one of those things where we put a table out full of all the things you've eaten in a week?
No.
Oh, I love it. I used to do it on them fat burning shows when it's like, this is what you eat in a week.
Have to use
you
the
eat this
table in
and,
there,
and it'd be like one of the things, when they cut open the belly of a whale and there's all like plastic in there. I bet you've eaten like bottle tops and like bits of like carpet and tree bark and stuff just because you didn't see what you were doing. I'd love that. Loads of like jammy dodgers on the table. Can we not do one of them?
No.
And here's what you should be eating. And there's just like a little chicken breast and you start crying. I want you to cry.
You see the one with the woman's eating a salad, she's like... I fucking like salad.
Yeah, salad.
Like you say, I eat salad.
No, you do eat salad, yeah.
It's just I drink far too many fizzy drinks and far too many energy drinks. That's it. That's the fundamental thing. In fact, all it is I put like £1 a month on, but over 10 years.
Yeah,
it fucking mounts up.
100 months.
I was very consistent, is what I was.
Yeah. Yeah, you take your eye off the ball for 10 years. And that can happen, can't it?
The blink of an eye.
Oh, I just want a big table full of food. Well, I'm going to write that down. We'll reconsider that.
Over 12 months, we've got 12 potential chapters on there. I think one of them needs to be with, like, probably a strength and conditioning guy. Probably needs to be a nutritionist in there at some point. Probably needs to be some sort of, like, proper MMA sort of proper coach. Just somebody that can look at the overall game and go, right, your fucking kicks are dog shit.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Because I'll tell you now, my fucking kicks are dog
Yeah,
shit.
you know people have like the golf swing like analysis. You need that like you do a bit of fighting and grappling there, like
and they just go,
this.
Let's not bother with any of that.
If you can make your head hit their head as much as you can without
lethal,
without getting seen, shots to the nut.
Yeah, so like we'll probably spend a little bit of time at a Muay Thai gym just to try and fucking get to level 1.
Yeah,
because we're fucking shit. But I think it'd be really interesting to someone analyse you overall and go, look, it's one fight. We're not trying to fucking build a superhuman here. We're just trying to get you through a fucking fight.
Yeah.
So let's go for, let's work on a double leg. Let's work on a real fucking powerful penetrating shot. Let's work on a strong top game. Let's work on maybe hands to entry. Let's work on a little bit of cage wall stuff, and then fuck all else. Maybe a bit of
here are the 5 things we're gonna do. We're gonna get you to a point where you're passable at them, and you do that. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, we're not none of this Paul Felder spinning elbows. Who's coming out first then? It's got to be
Poirier will be coming out first. Yeah.
So the kicks we're going to do is kicking your flip-flops off to get on the mat, and that is
good at that. Kicking your slippers off to get in bed. You can do that already.
Here we go then.
Poirier looks very composed. He's buzzing on route.
I think we're in for a shock.
I'm so excited.
I'm hoping we're in for a shock. I want a story.
I always kind of float towards an underdog.
I do too.
Me too.
I want somebody to experience that moment.
Yes.
And Poirier, I know he sort of got against Holloway. But in his life,
I'm so excited. I love watching. I like watching him fight, especially, and I love watching Khabib fight because it's like he's this. He's almost like a superhero. And I know he's just so perfect at one thing.
Lafayette, Louisiana.
Watching Khabib fight is like being a bystander to bullying.
Yeah.
It's horrible to watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's
like a dad beating up his kid, isn't it? You think? No, I don't want to watch it. It's horrible. Right.
It's like watching a year 11 batter a year 7.
See, I mean, they've just won a lot of fights. It's really impressive, Poirier's transition, isn't it? From the guy that lost to Conor to where he is now.
I'd say his last 3 victories are better than Khabib's.
Poirier probably has the better resume, all in all.
Yeah. A lot of people said about Khabib that he'd never fought anyone really until Conor, didn't they? But obviously he has.
But and again, like Mitt said this in the car on the way up, because I'm like, there's this Khabib's invincible. Is it?
No, he's not.
He's still just a bloke. He's going to lose at some point.
Look, Johnson rocked him. It's not like he's this unbelievable force.
And who was it? Who's the one who looks like a fire hydrant who he fought? And he couldn't really take him down very much. Khabib fought him really early on. He's like 4'2", and he's literally like an igloo. The body shape of an igloo. No neck whatsoever.
I've ever seen somebody describe.
What's his name? Gleason Tebow.
Oh, Gleason.
When he fought Gleason Tebow, he didn't do what he normally does. He didn't Khabib
some good
him.
wins on there.
Yeah, I think that RDA win's extremely underrated because that was when RDA was the best version
Abel
of
Trujillo.
RDA.
He was a beast.
Yeah, Abel Trujillo was good. But the Gleason Tebow fight was the only one where he came up against a really strong wrestler and didn't quite manage to dominate as he has done since. But it's going to be interesting to see.
Poirier is in the octagon and has looked how he's looked all week, just composed.
Yeah.
Looks like this is his moment.
He's got to be shitting himself under all this. It's got to be. I'm nervous.
I want one punch Khabib out.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine.
Oh.
Aldo style.
Flying
out.
Or like Verdum, just flying sidekick to the neck. Imagine. Although I don't think
I love Verdum for that.
The problem is...
Verdum's really not roofed in right.
No,
at all.
He's a mentalist.
Just that all the time. I don't think...
He threw a boomerang at Colby Covington.
Did it come back?
Do you know what?
Did it bounce back
He's a
off him?
fucking hero for that.
Yeah, he is.
Covington is a fucking widge.
He is. And also, it's not even... It's the fact that he's doing the character that I don't like. It's not even the character. Like, it's the we know you're faking it, mate.
Yeah.
He goes too
just
far.
rubbish.
This is what I want. Bring authenticity back to MMA. Stop. Like John Jones, just say everyone, look, I'm a fucking wild man.
Yeah.
I do beak off strippers and I get fucking right into
And he
it.
loves it.
That's what I want to hear from John.
Let
I don't
the
want
man
to
have
hear
his
him
cocaine.
preaching. I want to hear him telling us that he assaults strippers.
Yeah.
If that's what he wants to do, that's what I want to hear.
I want him to go, I'm going to one-bomb this stripper.
Yep.
And then if
Take
there's
a
a
car.
man in this fucking world that thinks they can step to me, do it, because there isn't. And I'll go, he's right.
Yeah.
Who beats John Jones?
No.
Apart from 4
his
dudes.
brothers.
Yeah, for his brothers.
Apart from his brothers. I don't know, he's just ridiculous.
Give my cookie!
Imagine, the fights in their house growing up. Once they got to about 14, 15, dad ain't
Well, they were
stopping
probably
them
already
no more,
like
is he?
£200, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Khabib's
Talking about
they'll
putting
be
him through a
walking.
fucking table.
They'll have been
But
awful.
they went through some
Through
right
a brick
tables.
wall.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he was the small, less athletic one.
Righty
in the
then,
household.
you lot in the comments, I want your winner, I want your method, and I want your time if it's applicable, unless you're saying Khabib by decision. And if you are saying Khabib by decision, get some fucking imagination.
Yeah, come
Jesus
on.
Christ.
Khabib
Be excited.
by decision is it's the least imaginative
I
version
did mean
of this,
to buy
isn't
one
it?
of them hats and then this event.
I bet. Do you know what?
snuck up on me.
I bet a proper one of them is £200.
Oh, yeah.
What are they made out of? Alpaca,
Probably. Yeah.
llama.
Alpaca.
Oh, don't get us. That's
Not again.
fucking alpaca.
Not
and
going to
llama
that
arguments.
again. What was that from?
The llama is the bigger of the two animals. The alpaca is the smaller one. The llamas are about 400 fucking pounds. Alpaca's more about the 155, sort of lightweight sort
Yeah,
of thing.
they're both your sort of horse giraffe hybrid.
One
Though,
has
let's
banana
face it.
Horse giraffe
ears, one has
hybrid.
pointy
Yeah.
ears.
Maybe somewhere more like a goat giraffe.
Llamas
hybrid.
Like
are
a
quite
woolly
aggressive.
giraffe.
Yeah.
One of them's a herd animal, and one of them's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, it's like ravens and crows.
So I don't think giraffes are talked about in terms of that they are the most ridiculous animal walking the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about it. It's a cheetah with a long neck.
Yeah, there's nothing like them, is there?
There isn't. They're ridiculous.
No, yeah, we don't talk about that enough. You're right.
What?
If we took giraffes,
Giraffes
away,
are the most
take
ridiculous
giraffes
looking
off the
things on the
planet,
planet.
and then introduce them as an alien, no one would ever get over how mental they look. Same with squid.
Have you seen the
squid-
tongue? Have you seen the tongue
squid-
on a giraffe?
Well, it's really, really
It's
long.
black.
Of course it is, yeah. And
It's like purple, and it's about this long.
But you can.
Impressive.
There's hotels
Where you
in,
can share a
I think
room
they're
with
in
a
Kenya,
giraffe.
where you can feed
you know
them
what I
from
mean.
your window.
From your bum.
I mean, the hotels you go to.
I've never been to
Trying to do a
Kenya.
serious
actually.
broadcast here,
I'd like
if
to
you
go
don't
to
mind.
Kenya.
On Khabib the Eagle.
Speaking of eagles, we weren't. So in
What are
the
you going to do
comments-
when Dylan Dennis versus Jake Paul's on? Aren't they doing it in boxing? Here's what's
Dylan
gonna
Dennis
happen,
would
right?
batter the life out of Jake Paul.
Yeah, of course.
Jake
Just
Paul,
book it now. Just fucking book it. Jesus Christ.
Jake Paul has no intention of fighting Dylan Dennis. It's just a way of getting himself relevant
Yeah,
in
which is
the
fair
boxing
enough.
world, which is smart, but he's
Yeah.
not actually going to do it.
No.
Because he knows what would happen if he fought Dylan Dennis.
Yeah, he'd obviously just get his head kicked in.
Dylan Dennis is fucking actually quite good.
Yeah, he's really good. And
I know he is, that's what I said.
I mean,
Dylan Dennis
all right.
would batter Jake Paul.
He's in Bellator. Right, sometimes people end up in Bellator for some reasons and sometimes they end up for another reason. Dylan Dennis isn't a famous guy who was in Bellator.
no.
So that's what you need to know.
No,
he was in Bellator because of how good he can
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah,
And he's done all right at it in there as well.
Yeah, they're just YouTubers who, like you
Got
said,
such a following. Jesus
rightly
Christ.
so, trying to big up a fight. It doesn't matter. You can't blame them, but there's no chances there.
Realistically, outside of Joshua Ruiz, numbers-wise, it's probably the biggest fight of the year.
They're probably getting paid
Sad that,
as
isn't it?
much as they are.
But then again, you say that, but it's like any celebrities doing anything gets a lot of views. Like their videos get 10 million views anyway.
Yeah.
So the fact that then boxing gets 10 million views, it's not that
The
surprising,
fact
is
that
it?
the YouTubes makes people go mental. But do you remember when Liam Gallagher and Robbie Williams used to go at it? Robbie Williams, I think, called him out of the Brits.
Yeah.
Liam called him Blobby Williams. They all kicked off at each other.
What
What
are you saying
that
now
would have
is
been massive.
if Bellator was around in 1996,
We'd have got Gallagher versus
my
Williams.
God. We'd have seen Gallagher versus Gallagher. Imagine Liam fighting Noel.
what
massive.
would have been your best celebrity matchup of the last 20 years?
Great
Celebrity
question.
matchup.
Yeah,
Great
celebrity
question.
beef. We might have had Biggie and Tupac in the octagon if MMA was
Imagine
big in the early
Biggie
90s.
just if he was any good at wrestling, how fast that
Tupac
fight
would have
is.
been a welterweight, man. I reckon he's wiry. He was ripped. I reckon
he's
he
a
had like hand
featherweight.
speed. Nah, I don't know how tall he was.
I think he was quite short.
Was it?
Yeah.
Or maybe it would have been a featherweight then. I'm going to go out on a limb and
God.
say I think Biggie might have been a heavyweight.
Yeah, probably.
Might-
I think he's
might
in
have been a
the
heavyweight.
Stephen Howson.
He might have had to, like me, might have had to cut to fucking
Howson
heavyweight.
weight.
Do you know what? That's some fucking going in it. Like, I've ate myself out of all the divisions the UFC's got.
Yeah.
Beefcake.
It is literally, you're in sumo territory.
Could have done the 10 years.
sad as that is to
Yeah,
say.
I have to go fucking elsewhere and look at the super heavyweights.
Yeah, I like that.
They're all 6'7".
To me, heavyweight shouldn't have an upper limit.
No, I don't think so.
Heavyweight is
Hilarious that they had
It's-
to cut to 265.
it's the big boys. That's the whole point. We should have 205 for whatever we call that. 225.
Whatever you want to get to.
225 light heavyweight. 225 plus. Just go for it. Get Gabby Garcia in. Just anything.
How quickly do you reckon she'd fuck you up? Inside a minute?
Inside 15 seconds.
Depends how big the octagon is, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think no matter what, it's just game over.
You've got to try and box and move for a bit. You're in trouble, though.
I think she's got a bigger reach than you.
Run through her legs.
I think she's
so
undoubtedly
strong.
got a bigger reach than you.
Yeah.
loads of pomp and ceremony now. Bruce Buffer's getting his $100,000 a week's worth. In fact, should we just speculate on? I think he's on $900,000 a week.
He'll be on loads.
I think he's on $1 million a year.
More than $1 million a year.
Yeah, it's more than $1 million, I'd say.
Do you think? But you think about it though. When you look at how much they pay the fighters,
Yeah, I know.
you think he's getting paid like?
I think Joe's on way more than a lot of the
main
fighters.
card
As
Yeah,
well.
he will be.
I think
think
Rogan
both
was
are.
on a hell of a lot more than a lot of fighters.
I think they're probably on $2 million between them. Who do you think gets paid more, Joe Rogan, Bruce Buffer? Bruce Buffer does every
Per show.
card.
Per
He
show?
does every single one.
No,
Per show?
per year.
Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, per show, obviously Rogan,
I know that
because he only does 10.
on
and-
box shows, Michael Buffer makes more than every single fighter on the bill every single time.
Incredible. Well, that's the thing when it's two brothers who just own.
And it's
Just
weird.
known
fight
for an
Those
announcement.
two men didn't meet each other until they're in their 40s.
Do you know Michael Buffer announced the UFC before Bruce Buffer did?
I did know that. There's a documentary waiting to be made. Bruce meets Michael. Was Bruce? He wasn't.
Done some banging. Them
He was his manager, wasn't he? He was Michael's manager for a long time.
Wait, and then he was like, "Hey,
You know what?
you're called Buffer too."
Do you know when I'm upstairs and you're downstairs and you shout me? That sounds great, Bruce.
He's like,
what
Bruce,
do you
Michael,
think?"
dinner
Yeah,
ready.
he's like, when's dinner ready? Yeah, he just goes for it
like,
every time.
oh.
You know what? I like that a lot. You can take the shepherd's pie bit out at the end. You've got yourself a
And Khabib.
catchphrase, mate.
I think we'll have Mark Goddard on with me and Brendan soon.
That'd be great. I like best ref in the business, I'd
Yeah,
say.
he's good.
Had a good old time on the gin with.
Right, they've
with
touched
Mark.
gloves. We're about to go.
Come on,
An interesting
boys.
fella. Started slagging off Scotland, then he showed me a Scotland tattoo. Got pretty quiet, pretty quick. He's fucking massive, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah, he actually had a really interesting MMA career. I think he's a black belt under Braulio. Is it? I said
I don't think I'm gonna
I
know.
think. Joe didn't even travel. Nah, he's in. He's doing a fucking fight companion with 80,000 people watching it.
Here we go. We've kicked off.
Come on, lads.
Come on, Dustin.
Righty, how long till the first takedown? I'm going to say 42 seconds.
Good.
Dustin leg kick.
Little leg kick.
Forget them. Let's
Teasing
stop bothering
that.
them. Just forget all about those.
It's amazing as well the amount of times that after a fight, the coaches and the fighter says they just abandoned the fight plan the whole time. Like that you talk about how that first minute just goes by, you don't know what's happened. That happens for the professionals as well, doesn't it? That he probably is just nervous and trying to just keep up with everything.
Khabib caught Poirier.
Fuck the kicks
That's
all
the
the way
stuff of
off,
nightmares,
mate.
isn't it? You throw a kick and Khabib is just grabbing your ankle.
I can't imagine how much your heart just goes when Khabib grabs your foot. You're just like no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about the same sort of
It's just-
feeling as.
It's just like someone just got some fucking wire clippers on your Achilles, isn't it?
Do you know what it must feel like, right?
Tin
this
snips.
is a fucking 100% true story, right? I was on HMS Ocean, right, with the Apache helicopter. I fucking hate boats. I'm not really a big fan of the Navy. I had to go on a fucking boat for 8 weeks, and I thought about killing myself about every half an hour, right? It was fucking gross. And we was doing a lot of the operations that we do at night, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Apaches are, at the time, it was meant to have been a nighttime operation thing. I watched what I thought was off the edge of the boat.
Oh my god!
But there's a little
He's
fucking...
going to get
dives
Khabib
in.
shot for the first time.
Oh, it was a minute
hand
and
under the
22.
neck. It's not
Just
gonna be enough, is
He's
it?
not got it.
There's like a little gantry off the side of
I
the
got my
boat,
hands
which is
up.
about 3 feet down from the edge of the
God.
flight deck. And I stepped into that, but I thought I stepped off the side of the boat. And Joe, when your stomach rises and your heart just goes...
That's awful.
That's the same feeling. He just got
And
when he
so in the
grabbed
middle of
his
the
ankle.
night, it's just pitch black.
Pitch
you
black.
Just,
And then you just fall.
How would you
Oh,
have done? Would you have died? Is that game over? Would they have known you'd fallen off for how long?
We was in the North Sea, and I wasn't in an immersion suit.
He's
I was
got it.
just in fucking
He's got him.
overalls.
Oh, he's still back up. Well, he's on one knee, one leg. Nah, he's got him.
And it was pitch black.
sake,
I didn't
it's
have
just
any
smells,
fucking
isn't it?
anything on me. No one knew where I was.
Yeah.
I'd have just gone. They'd have carried on driving, and someone would have gone, see you Steve.
Ooh, good scramble.
how far
but
was the
he's
drop
Got
when
his
you
back
went down?
instead.
About 4 foot.
4-4.
I just went crunch and like crumpled in a fucking heap and then laughed.
He's got his back.
Oh my god,
Oh.
this is bad.
This is
Poirier's
really bad.
in trouble.
Yeah. See, Khabib's always wanting to mount. That looked like he was in the eye.
Honestly,
Yeah,
it's like he wraps people up in
Hooking his
cellophane.
nose and eye there,
Shouldn't
wasn't he,
know how to do
Khabib?
that, like.
We've got Khabib on a sort of
probably
a...
Dagestan, you
What
can.
is that, like a half... What position is
He's
that?
mounted.
Oh, he
He's
might-
mounted
has he
and
got
he's
it?
back on his back.
Has he got a
He's
neck
on, he's
crank?
not
It's
under
over
the chin.
his
He's over the
face.
chin, but he's squeezing.
Has he got a neck crank? No,
Yeah.
not quite.
They're like, do it again. He's like, okay.
So long left.
Feels
See, that's in the eye.
I don't want it to end like this so soon
come on,
with
Dustin,
Poirier. I
like
feel
this.
bad for him. I want him to get a chance. He didn't even throw a punch.
See, that's in the eye. I don't want it to end like this so soon with Poirier. I feel bad for him. I want him to get a chance.
He didn't even throw a punch.
And
just composing himself a bit, isn't he? Look,
It's just the eyes again, man. This is...
Goddard is an inch away, so if he does hit his eyes, he's there.
He's turning into it, though, which is getting away from it.
Fucking hell, what is he? He's just something else, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just something else.
He might get this. He might get this.
No, he's got one hand off.
Come on, Dustin.
A long time left with Khabib.
1 minute.
And he's really cranking that neck as well. This might be...
His head's just
He's
about out.
pulled his hand off.
Don't be...
He's doing that.
He stood up.
Yeah.
He's got to his feet.
I thought he was going to go for the Verdun backpacker
There's
method there.
There's a very real chance that Khabib just drags him back down here, though.
Yeah, but I think it's...
That's the fight if that happens.
Yeah.
Well, he's got double underhooks.
Ooh,
good knee from Poirier.
Good double underhooks. He's going to prevent the takedown by doing that. But how's he managed to fucking get on his back again?
I think it's just Poirier trying to explode and spin out, and he just takes that back every time, doesn't he? Look, stood on his foot. Look, so he can't.
So
it's just those
technical.
little. It's like when like the teams would go and play in Italy in the 90s, and they've got all those tackles, and they're holding your bollocks, and they're pulling your hair from corner. Khabib's got all those, but for wrestling, and he stood on your foot. He's putting his hand across your eye, across your mouth. He's just a horrible bastard.
Skating by the rules.
He's just everything's right on the edge. Hope the ref doesn't see it. Get away with it once. It's just impossible, isn't it?
45 seconds left.
5 rounds of this is brutal.
At least he's not taking too many shots.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he nearly got. See, look, he can't do anything.
I don't even know what
unbelievable.
physics that went in play there.
Imagine
for him to
being
do
his
that.
wife. She's like, I don't fancy it tonight. What? Look at this. He is his wife. For God's sake.
He is his wife.
He is his
might as well
wife.
be
He makes you his
He
wife.
just makes you his wife. Imagine being in prison with Khabib. Oh my God.
He'd be the worst cellmate ever.
The worst. Drop the soap and he's trying to spin out of it. He's just got you forever. There's no rounds in prison, is there?
There's no rounds.
Bruce Buffer's 100 grand an event. Michael's is 5 mil. But I bet Bruce is probably doing more events a year.
Yeah, Bruce Buffer does 5
Poirier's
nights.
just got in his face afterwards. Like, that's really pointless when you've just been dominated like that.
Poirier,
What can you say?
Not a scratch on him, though.
At least he's through the
What
round.
can you
say
fucking
that.
say, though, to someone that's just humped you for 5 minutes like that?
No. But like I said, not a scratch
Call
on him.
me.
He's
Like,
not
what
hurt.
can you say to him? We're going out for
Nothing,
dinner
can
after
you?
this, or what?
Well done, mate.
Normally I
go
get took out for dinner after
second
get
round.
like that.
It's like we've got
We
breakfast.
do it before dinner. That's some brutal stuff. That
That's how Khabib does it.
sex, and then we go out for dinner. Start at 4 o'clock
You
in
go
the
on Khabib's
afternoon.
order.
The dinner is always the main event, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell.
3-course meal. Who'd you give that round to then,
Oh,
lads?
fuck off, Joe.
I think I won. I had a better chance of winning that than Poirier did. But at least,
Look, we're one down.
yeah, exactly. We're one down. He's not cut him. He's not landed any big shots to the head. We start this round almost the same
Yeah,
as we
every
started the
fight
last one.
starts
He's got another chance.
standing.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't rock him. He didn't hurt him. I think.
Would you wear the traditional local garb if you was over there?
Yeah, definitely.
Damn right. Commando?
Is that what you meant to do?
I don't know. Just asking if you
I'd go with it.
Just a personal choice.
You don't want a little.
Gotta let your shit breathe, man.
You don't want the little cashew sticking out the front of the. At the front of it, though, do you? I reckon I'd go pants. Maybe some fight shorts actually.
I like it. Topical.
But yeah, I'd go traditional. I'd join in.
When we was in Bahrain for the Ironman, Khabib's throwing a flying knee. Doesn't give a fuck.
He missed. It should be said.
They have to use a different font to get his name on his shorts because it's
Poirier's
just so
missing with
fucking
these.
long.
Whoa!
Poirier! Come on, Poirier!
Poirier,
Come on, fella! Come on, Poirier!
Khabib might be going away here, lads.
No,
No, he's come back. He had to,
come on,
he had to
Dustin.
fucking
He hit
take
two, he hit
advantage
one.
there.
Oh, he's-
that
come
man
on,
did as
come
well.
on,
pour
Dustin.
it, pour it, pour it.
Go on.
Empty the tank. Go on, come
Dustin.
on.
Oh,
Go on, go body kick.
Go,
Poirier.
hands.
Poirier
Let him
hit
go,
his foot.
Poirier. Oh!
Oh shit! They both just missed. Glanced underneath the chin of Khabib, who would have been in shit street if that had a fucking landed.
Poirier just threw a leg
Come on,
kick.
Dustin.
Do you know what?
That's
After
the
I
body.
shouted empty the tank, I think he emptied the fucking tank.
He's
There's only a minute gone in this round, and he's taking the deepest of breaths.
Oh,
And now Khabib shot for a
Shot.
takedown. I'll see you in round 3, everybody.
I'm gone.
That's
Oh,
Abu
no.
Dhabi heat
He
is
hit,
gonna be
he hit
nice
him
now.
once, and then he got him with another one as well, didn't he?
It
But
was
he just,
about 3 over a course of
he let me
5
dream
or
then,
6
Dustin.
seconds.
yeah, and like I said, his tank's gone, and now he's on his back again. Oh, so close. So close.
Would we say that was closer to a finish than what Michael Johnson got?
Yeah.
So that's the worst position of Khabib's
for a minute,
career.
4 out of 5 takedowns.
Khabib was wobbling and his legs weren't there for him, were they? Yeah. Oh, we were so excited. And now it's just back to Khabib doing what he does, yeah. Hopefully, again, though, if Dustin can... Again, it's 3 minutes of this, but if he can try and hold off some of that ground and pound, he might have another chance at the start of the next round, but... It's interesting. Will be interesting to see Khabib's tank, because is this... How many times has he gone 5 rounds?
Going to take some of your tank away. See that though? He sort of triangles the feet, so the feet are in the air, and you have to put your hands down like this because you just haven't got balance while your feet are in the air. Because normally, most of the time, if you're mounted or you're pressed up against the cage, you're using your feet.
You're pushing against the cage.
You're using your feet to center yourself, to balance yourself, and to push off from. Yeah. So as soon as your feet come up in the air like this, your hands have to come down. Now you're getting punched in the face. Yeah. Now you can't go for underhooks. Now you can't fucking get up. It's an absolute nightmare of a position to be. Rock in a hard place. Yeah, exactly. Might as well call this position.
Yeah, you have to have your hands down just so you don't fall over, let alone try and get up.
Yeah, and then you've got a well-trained human being on top of you who's both punching you in the air and fucking trying to pull you down to the mat.
See, Dustin is cut now.
Bad as well.
In the eye, right in the eye.
Yeah, right above his left eye there. He's wiping his eye twice.
Khabib's on the back, just
focus on that.
Like he likes to do.
He's managed to stand up though, Dustin. It's just that getting away from it, though, isn't it? You stand up, he puts you back down. You stand up, he puts you back down. He never, once his hands touch you for the first time, they never stop touching you until the round ends.
No, again, see, it was a real.
There's no point.
At a guillotine.
Yeah,
but I thought the guillotine was an option there. Round 2 was when I thought it actually as well.
Oh, if he'd have knocked him out. If he'd have knocked him out, I'd have took my shirt off. Do you know when you feel I'm taking my shirt off here? I had that feeling. I thought, this is happening. Shirt's coming off if he does it. But yeah, that's quite a nasty cut for an eye cut as well, isn't it?
Look how easy he ragdolls him. He's so fucking strong.
Yeah, and he's tired as well.
This comes from years of... Look who he fucking trains with. Rockhold, fucking Kane, and DC.
What do you think?
And I reckon he's wrestled them hard as well.
People in the gym say he can take DC down.
And hold him there. Yeah. See, again, that front guillotine is on there, but...
He's going to slip out.
Khabib's head's too big, and they look a bit too wet, and he's also not under the arm that much either.
No, he's none of that's on, really. Is it? Yeah, I think he's using it as a defence against the takedown.
Khabib just pushed his hand away.
Well, yeah, because I think Dustin was just using it to keep his head in position rather than to try and
elbow.
Anthony in the comments there says, "I would love to see GSP have a go with Khabib." You and every other MMA fan in the world, my mate.
Khabib would.
That might be the one. That might be the one. If Tony Ferguson's out, that might be the one. I think they stopped GSP doing it.
I think Khabib would do him. I think the best, if Khabib got hold of GSP, he'd do him. But I think GSP could take Khabib down. I think offensively he's got a chance, but defensively there's nothing you can do against this.
It's mental how good GSP was though at grappling, because he didn't have the extensive background.
He just decided to learn it.
And also, he was just a smart guy, wasn't he? He was just a smart guy. Like I think it's hard to.
Oh, it's a big knee for Khabib.
Yeah.
Oh.
See there, he's out now. He needs to get out.
End of the round.
End of the round. End of the round.
Is there a case to still give it Poirier because of the first 2.5 minutes?
No.
Oh man.
No.
I mean, he nearly had Khabib gone.
I could see how you.
If you do.
Yeah. He's got to feel.
Oh, I didn't want out.
He's got to feel like he's got a chance again, but every round he's more tired.
Yeah, that power's going to diminish.
But also, what's Khabib's gas tank like? I know it's going to be good because wrestlers always wrestlers tend to be good, but he's going to get more tired than he was, no matter what. He's going to be.
Also got caught with a few.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be sloppier than he was. He's going to be more susceptible to taking hits if Poirier has that.
If Dustin lands one flush on the chin, you're going away. That's that.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this then. Dustin with that right.
Overhand right on the button.
Oh, he really is on the button as well.
He just ducks under the left hook that comes after it. There's a right up following it.
This one here does land.
A left on the chin.
He didn't land with any of the follow up, really.
I thought he did, but he didn't, did he?
It was just the one right hand.
If it had been one more, it'd have done him. And also, Khabib's got that chin of someone that doesn't get knocked. Like, he's never been knocked out. He hasn't got.
No, it just gets rocked.
It's not. Yeah, it's been. I don't know. Obviously, in training, we don't know. But he's not someone that's. It's not diminished at all. He's got that
really
sort of.
Walls,
Come on, Dustin, we're on for underway.
He's got that new chin on him.
Sam Alvey just tweeted 10-6 easy. I don't know what fucking fight he's watching.
10-6.
Stop it, you maniac.
I think 10, even a 10-8, he's pushing it. I think you could say 10-8, but he nearly knocked him out. Just Swinging. Poirier swinging with his left hand there. That left hook.
Well, it's his only chance, isn't
It's not
it?
even a hook, it's just a...
Actually, 10-6 is
that
the
is.
most fucking ridiculous thing I've heard tonight, and I've listened to Kid Nemlot now.
He's going for the...
Yes, there we
Come
go.
on,
There's the guillotine
come on,
I was on
Justin.
about. That he's going to pop out. He's
it's not
definitely
in.
going to pop
It's
out.
not
He's only
It's not
got
in.
one arm.
It's not in.
Although,
Well, Khabib's actually flapping a little bit. So
okay.
Khabib's dealing with something there.
Come on.
Khabib's left hand
Come
is on
on.
the mat. I think he's
pop
going to
out.
pop.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, no.
You know what?
Justin's
The
holding
way
on to
Khabib's
this.
reacting to that,
I
it's
think
hurting
it's
him.
on.
Because he's
Okay.
trying to... He's defending. He's
I
not...
think it's on.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, that arm. If that arm comes out, his head follows.
it's
Nah, there you go.
Fucking
there
hell.
you go.
If I'm out by a round, I'll be fucking fuming.
Khabib's got him
and that
with 4 minutes
That's
to go
probably
this
that.
time.
Because he
that'll
tried
burn
like
the
fuck.
life out of
He
Poirier's
tried like
arm.
fuck to fucking pull that on. Now he is getting absolutely bullied.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's get the most crunchiest fucking substance known to man while we're sitting in front of microphones. That was well smart, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think he's going to try and teach him a lesson.
Not
for
bring
trying
us no chocolate mousse or something, no. Something, or soup.
Khabib on top
That's a shame,
again.
that, because that would have been a fucking brilliant way to finish.
Oh, he'd have been amazing.
And now we've got 3 minutes. Until
You'd have
he
won
gets
your
another
bet
chance.
still, though, if he had done it.
Khabib to the corner, just at the second end. I can't get him the fuck off me.
That's Poirier to his corner.
Yeah.
We're being thrown... Stuff being thrown at us here. I can't believe
The
it.
cheap seats.
Bit of chocolate.
Oh,
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
he's
That
in, that's
naked
in.
joke
That is
is
in.
in.
It's
That
in.
might be all she wrote. He's
Yeah.
gone. He's gone. He tapped.
Khabib,
Khabib.
rear naked
Is it
choke.
29-0, is it now?
28-0.
28-0.
Yeah, it's...
Fucking Christ.
He was defending everything else
he's
and
out
he
the
forgot
cage
about
again.
his nose.
He's
Who's he
having
gone
it
for
now.
this time?
Fucking Christ on it. Someone get hold of him, will they?
Is Tony there? Or is he
I
just
know.
celebrating?
Oh,
He's
it's
hugging
Dana.
Dana White.
Imagine you've just gone for Dana.
Who's he with?
He's a fucking maniac, isn't he?
Right,
Yeah.
let's get this Tony fight booked now.
Do you know something? I don't think Tony has anything for him. His stand up isn't good enough.
I
His
think
jiu-jitsu
he
is,
finishes
though.
that
it's
fucking
not.
guillotine.
It's not. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I think he elbows the shit out of him from the bottom.
I don't.
I've wanted to see that
No one
match
get.
for
There's,
years.
there's no distance to elbow Khabib. The idea that someone who's better defensively, like jiu-jitsu, it's not there against him. I just don't think. I think the best chance he's got is against a wrestler who can box.
I think Tony can avoid the takedowns better. Not entirely.
Well,
Better.
He's so awkward on
maybe
his
better,
feet.
but I just don't think so. He's not a knockout
Yeah, but
artist.
He throws digs from the most fucked up, unorthodox places that normal people wouldn't even.
That's
think to throw
true.
from.
That's a chance he has. But I just think the idea that Tony's
See, that was where I thought the
jiu-jitsu's gonna
chance
help
was.
him.
That was why I went for a submission for Poirier. They're just showing a replay there. Khabib shot. That guillotine was on, and it was obviously on because Khabib was defending the fuck out of it.
He was.
But Poirier fucking emptied his gas tank for it,
Yeah.
and as soon as
See, look at
Khabib
that
popped out,
big breath by Poirier, won it?
he took his back, and it was on with a quickness, and it was on deep, and you can see as soon as he rolls back, he starts to tap before he even he tries to defend the top. He leans back.
You can
This
look
isn't
at the
even a
spear
second.
in his eyes there.
Yeah,
God,
he's gone, and he's tapping already. That was fucking impressive.
he's
He's come
good.
through the two biggest crises of his
Think-
career in one fight, and he's still done it relatively.
He's
comfortably.
good.
Jesus Christ, that's tight.
He's good, isn't he?
That is tight as fuck.
Oh, he's so
He's brilliant.
good. It annoys me how good he is.
But this Tony fight needs to happen now.
It does.
There's
need to
no
happen.
other option.
Right, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure
Yeah,
to join
amazing.
us back this week. I think James is going to be doing a live on Tuesday. We'll be back with Brendan and myself, and we've got Scott Askham, KSW middleweight champion of the world, on Wednesday, and hopefully we might have Dan Hardy coming up very soon as well. Before we take a little bit of a break, we've got Mohamed Mokaev actually coming up in a couple of weeks, who is basically like a British version of Khabib. Obviously he hails from that part of the world, but he fights for Britain, hence being called Mohamed Mokaev. And then Brendan's going to be taking a couple of weeks off prior to the swap shirts. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Prior to his fight on PFL. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button as Dana White wraps the belt around Khabib. We'll call it a day. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.